Hey, welcome to the Black Guy Who Tips podcast. I'm your host, Rod, joined as always by my co-host,
Karen.
and we're live on a Saturday morning ready to do some feedback. Find us everywhere you find podcasts. Search the Black Guy Who Tips. We'll come up. All the contact information and ways to be part of this feedback show are in the show notes of each single episode. Whether it's our website, whether it's the link to YouTube and where you can leave comments, the email address, all that stuff is right there for you. So there's no excuse to not be involved. Leave us 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts and we won't put an extra commercial break in the feedback show.
It's up to y'all. Y'all determine that.
The official weapon of the show is
folding chair,
and the unofficial sport,
bullet ball,
and bullet ball. Extreme. I guess we can get right into the people that took the time out, went on the right hand side of our podcast app, website, theblackouttest.com, and they said, hey, I like to donate. I don't want nothing. You don't gotta give me nothing. You don't gotta list. I just like that y'all here, that y'all exist, that y'all gonna continue to exist. Because I don't know what I would do if I woke up one day. Y'all just wasn't here no more.
Right?
And shout out to those people that did that because we give them a shout out, literally.
May I have your attention? You are now listening to Charlotte's own Rod and Karen. We welcome the good folks who tied to the Black Guy Who Tips.
Yeah, new dough, new what up, though. Okay, around the same thing. It's not always clever. Preston F from the Slanger Ages podcast. Matthew W. Adam S. Thank you very much. Mariano. Joe H. Jason F. Dorothea S. You know, we big with the Dorotheas. Tyrone M. Call them. Waste Bees Basura. Michael Irving, the Playmaker. Michael F. Mary H. Stefan H. You know, the H's all come in packs. Allison H. Jeff M. Which will fool you, because then you be like, that's enough H's. No, Jonathan H was right after Jeff M.
Come on, they just H's.
H they be waiting. They be waiting. And Corey B, thank you everybody that took the time out to put a little change in our pocket. It means the world to us. All right, 5-star reviews. We got one new one, so no ad this right now. It says it's from Bill Hamilton Esquire, who says, ad block review. Everyone review this show. I'm refreshing my review to cut one commercial on the show. Rod and Karen are two of the most thoughtful, passionate podcast hosts. I'm glad I also get the bonus episode of Rod on Karen Hunter's Foolishness Fridays on Sirius XM Urban View, which sometimes features Karen Morrow's laughter in the background. It's true. Everything they said is facts. Yeah, thank you, and I appreciate it. And
thank
of course,
you. You understood the assignment.
Yeah, this means one less commercial break, and you did that for the whole community. Like, everybody gets one less commercial break because one person, one fan, that's all we ask for every week,
can make the difference.
One fan can make the time to be like, hey, I love
it. Don't take a lot of y'all. It just takes only one.
I hate to be to come hug my neck, uncle, but that's what we gotta be.
Right?
It's not our fault. We need these reviews. All right. Do. Comments on the episodes that we did throughout the week. Let's see. We did, it looks like 4. Okay, 4. Go us. I see us. Yeah. We had Born and Raised was the first episode. It was a feedback episode. We got 4 comments. The first being from Apia, who says, I know exactly what the rapture pastor will say tomorrow. In fact, I was able to get a copy of his speech, and it goes like this. Dear church community, I did it. I talked to God. I prayed. I even cried. I was able to convince God to postpone the rapture, even if you clearly don't deserve a second chance, you sinners. But I'm such a good person. I helped you anyway, and God listened to me. Rapture is rescheduled for some other time I will reveal later, and now it's your turn. You have to do better, sin less. Money is the root of your sins. You watch sinful movies, go to sinful concerts, buy sinful stuff. You get it, no more. Give me your spare money. This way you will not be tempted to sin anymore. I will take the burden, aka your money, from you because I'm such a good person. You can thank me later. You are welcome. Okay, maybe that's what he said. That makes sense. Sean says, I'm really looking forward to Rapture. It should help solve global warming and decrease global conflict. That is the one thing that we didn't get to see in the Marvel universe for the Endgame and the Infinity War. It should have been some humans that was rooting for it, because I think we now have enough reason to believe that there's a lot of dummies.
Yeah.
And they would be like, Thanos is the key. Let him kill half of us.
They was like, see, this is why I ain't had no kids.
Spider-Man is lying. You can't trust Big Iron Man. Y'all gonna trust Tony Stark? He's a billionaire. Let that man smoke half of us. That is the only solution. I want him to smoke me. Hustle No Flow says, okay, I've been looking for one of those peach heat chickens ever since you first mentioned it, and nothing. Just Mojo Classic, lemon pepper, and jerk. But today I finally got my hands on one. Good stuff. Thanks for putting us on game. You're welcome, brother.
Thank you. It's good.
The rare thanks for putting us on game. You don't see that too often anymore. It's way too much. Why didn't nobody tell me? And not enough thanks for putting me on. And you wonder why don't nobody be telling y'all ass nothing. Because you're ungrateful.
You get upset.
Evie says, no point in leaving America when the rest of the world seems to be a dumpster fire as well. I'm sure there's got to be it's got to be places doing better than us. But yeah, I feel you. It's all sucks.
Yeah, it's certain things that don't have borders and is everywhere.
YouTube. We got 7 comments. Provocative AF says, what up, Rod and Karen? Appreciate the great show. You helped me change my mind about Mike Tyson leading the Democratic Party instead of Hakeem. He seems like the ice cream man. He's nice enough to lead the party. Milk, LOL. He said, the Rapture pastor gonna fake his death and pull a no call, no show.
No. That's hilarious.
Pull a no call, no show, then come back like Jesus to tell the congregation the Most High sent him to return
3 days later.
For the return of Jesus Part 2. And
Electric Boogaloo.
Alicia replied, and the crazy part is about that is people will believe even that. And he said, absolutely, that's crazy. That would be funny if he showed up on like Monday or whatever. It was like, oh, y'all gave up the faith. God, let me come back. Anyway, did y'all collect the tithes yesterday? I need those. Dark Ninja says, I have lived overseas since the early 80s. It's not for everyone. And another good feedback show. Thanks. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, and I'm not discouraging or whatever. I'm not saying I can't do it. I'm not saying it's too hard or anything like that. I'm just saying I don't want to, and maybe that can change in the future. I'm not saying it's stuck in stone, but just
at this period of time, that's exactly how I feel about the situation. And the way people talk about it, sometimes they simplify it, and it's not as simple as that. Just like you've made and you thought about the pros and cons for those people who decide to leave, I've thought about it too. And when the people talk to you, they act like you ain't thought about all the different scenarios. You go, yeah, bitch, I thought about it and I still decided to stay, and that's all right. Just like if you want to leave, you have that option also.
The poll is, are you planning to leave America for good? Yes or no? Yes, 16% said they are planning to leave America for good, and 84% said no. So there you go. And like I said, no judgment either way. I totally get it. All right, let's see. Next episode, 3164, St. Mackenzie Scott. Oh wait, shit, I meant to check Spotify to see if we had any on there. Okay, no. Okay, cool. All right, St. Mackenzie Scott is when we had JL Covan on, and we always have a good time kicking it with the homie. And we got 4 comments from that. Dizzy Lizzie Gal says, just checking in to say JL Selena Gomez was perfect. Laugh my ass off. Voice doesn't match her face at all, nor the fact that she's a former Disney kid. Yeah, I never assumed the impression is off, because 1, JL is very good at these impressions, but 2, he's very critical of himself. So he'll be like, this one's not good, or it's not as good as it could be, or it's limited. So I assumed, like, when he did it, I'm like, I know somebody getting a kick out of this. I just don't. I'm not the one, because I don't watch Only Murders in the Building or whatever.
Right.
Obia says JL sounds happier than on other occasions. Well, give it a day. That's what I always say.
Give it 24 hours.
Don't get too up. Don't get too down. It's JL. He'll be back. But yeah, it's he was also delirious from the lack of rest, because he had been traveling. So he was probably in a weird sort of the euphoria that comes before the crash, when your brain is trying to process the lack of oxygen and everything that it needs.
Sleep.
Sandler Agnew says, hey, Rod and Karen, Black Widow was in fact in the theaters in 2021. You just had the option to pay $30 on Disney Plus for something Disney offered if you chose to stay home and watch it. It was called Premier Access. It was a program for movies that were in theaters and on Disney Plus simultaneously. Films like Cruella, Jungle Cruise, Mulan, 2020, and the first one on the program, Black Widow, and I think Raya and the Last Dragon were also on it as well. Warner Media, now WB Discovery, had a similar idea for the entire 2021 slate, sans the premium surcharge, but you only had access to the new releases for 30 days before it leaves the platform. James Gunn's Suicide Squad was released theatrically as well as streamed via HBO Max, for example. Disney then and now was wrong for how they tried to lowball ScarJo, placing the concern under the severe parameters of 2019 when she's an actor used to getting paid from theatrical receipts. Boy, that was a wild time with how Disney fouled that up. Just had to clear that up anyway. Peace. Thanks. EB says Sinners has been the only movie I've seen in the theater this year because I wanted to support a black director and mainly black cast, but movies go to streaming so fast I don't get a chance to go to movies because life be lifing. I remember back in the day it would take almost a year before a movie that was released in theaters came out on VHS or cable.
Right. Sometimes longer than that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they used to do, I remember when I worked at Media Play, they used to do a thing where they would put the movie out on VHS for a limited amount of time and then take it back. So like you couldn't even buy the Disney movie anytime you walked in there. It's like, okay, you can get The Lion King on VHS for these 6 months. And then if you just happen to be outside of that 6 month period, you got to wait for another time where they release it again.
And they would do a big thing when they would do it. They would call it like unlock or behind the whatever they would call it, where yes, they would do that. Like you said, they would release it, then they would pull it literally from every platform, and then 5 or 6 years later they would put it back out, and then they would take it away again. Yes, they used to do that a lot too.
The only way, and I used to remember because people used to get mad because people would come in for Christmas, especially to buy stuff for their kids, and if like certain movies weren't in the rotation for Disney, they would be like, but it was just here or whatever. I'm like, I don't know. It's not like, I hear you. You right. It's been 5 years. The movie is out somewhere, but we ain't got it.
But in that Christmas rotation, that ended in July. I'm so sorry.
The only way it came out earlier was that if it flopped. I clearly remember when Vanilla Ice movie Cool as Ice came out and it was on Blockbuster 2 weeks later. Those were the days. That's funny because that meant they had to start printing them shits before. Like they printed them VHSs while that shit was still in the theaters.
Yes,
like,
they did.
We already know this shit ain't fitting to work. Let's just go ahead and get this to the kids.
To get in Blockbuster in 2 weeks, yes.
Get this to the kids so they can beg their parents to see this shit because those are the only people that want to see Vanilla Ice in a movie.
Right. But that slow ass technology back then, yes.
0 adults.
No, all the kids, 0 adults.
Let's see. On YouTube, comments for this episode, we got 10 of them. Let's see. All right, now YouTube Premiere says Karina. I just hit the button. I don't even know what it means. So I hit, like, normally I don't hit make it a YouTube Premiere. I just hit the button of like just publish it when it's done. I don't know the difference between making it a Premiere or not, but apparently y'all see something different, and so that's all
that matters, right?
Yeah,
it might get in front of a few more eyeballs or something like that when you do it. Who knows?
Literally don't know.
I don't know.
I publish it every week. I click on the thing that says like, do you want to do a premiere? And I'll go no. And I never knew it made a difference, and now I know it makes some kind of difference. I still don't know what the difference is, y'all. I still don't know what Karina saw that was like, oh shit.
Right, what they saw on their end.
Yeah. Provocative AF says, what's cracking? Yo, thanks for the great show. Y'all are funny as fuck. What up, JL, Rod, and Karen? Thank you.
Thank you.
Layla says, allegedly, Cynthia's got a little homewrecker in her blood too. LOL, Cynthia Erivo. Yeah, so they got a homewrecker Voltron between her and
Ariana
Grande in that movie. Yeah, they both out here. It's apparently Mrs. Steal your chick or your man. Christoph says, I read that Mackenzie Scott has given away over $19 billion since her divorce. I know Jeffrey big mad right now. Yeah, because he's about the accumulation of wealth, not giving it away.
Right.
The girl on the other side of the road says, I love these new thumbnails. I didn't see Wicked last year on IMAX, but I'm definitely going on it this year. And Ariana Grande broke up with that man. He cheated and he left his wife just to be dumped and called ugly. That is funny. And yes, so for those that are on the YouTube channel, the graphic for the episodes, we have like a different thing where now I'm putting like some of the actual pictures from the episode or show art from the episode or the topic we talked about. Once again, a shout out to Inflection Network and the growth that they're trying to facilitate with the show. Just trying out new stuff. It's why, we tried to, there's a different intro, there's different graphics, and some people will be mad, some people will like it. We got the people that was like, oh, I hate this, and the people, it's all temporary anyway. Some of it's gonna change and we'll see how things go. But I appreciate when y'all point out stuff like, oh, I like that, because it lets us know like, okay, people do notice those differences.
Agreed.
Let's see. Leonardo says, they wanted Kamala to come out and tell them she was going to push back on Israel, like they wanted Obama to come out and say he was making laws for black people and pretend like there would not be any pushback. I'm ignoring anyone that's talking about our current political climate and start by talking about what Democrats did wrong, because they need to direct all that energy towards the people in power. Love the show.
Yes, they do. If we're not doing that, what are we talking about? Don't talk about people that ain't got no power and that can't do nothing, they can't vote. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I have to be careful with my algorithm because when I log on to like Twitter, based on what I'm clicking on, retweeting, liking, stopping on that day, it reflects what I will be seeing more of. And I can really get heavily into the political like cynicism and negativity and call out culture because I'm so angry. And so I'll stop on something and retweet it because and it's always right. Like I'm not stretching. There are things I believe and things that are true. And I don't think I'm helping anybody by reminding every fucking body, but I can't help myself because I'm so angry. Every day I could remind everybody how we got here.
Yes, sir.
Sometimes I log on and there's just like certain accounts that it shows me over and over. And there are people that constantly are pointing out like, hey, when Trump did this, you guys have not been as upset. You guys have not called it out. You guys have not questioning. You guys have not called for him to step down. You guys have not asked any of the people supporting him to resign. You guys are just going along with this. But when it was Biden, everything was on the table, no matter how unrealistic or impractical it was.
Yes,
everybody had a wish list of sky high like goals and lofty things, and when they weren't achieved, it was like a crushing punishment of get these people out of charge. Here we go, where the economy is getting fucked up, our rights are being fucked up. Everything that you said you didn't want under Biden and Kamala is actually worse under Trump, and
yes,
the outrage is less, and you're not confronting them. So like I can get into that spiral of just sharing that over and over, and so I have to be careful, but it's always true, and that's what I appreciate about what you're saying, Leonardo. I feel that way so strongly, where it's like, why don't y'all who spent all that time eroding the goodwill, eroding the positive vibes, eroding the fact that people felt like maybe we're on the precipice of pushing some real change. Why don't y'all spend some time every day waking up and banging on these people that's in charge,
complaining about
like I actually don't like, to a certain extent, while I think actually let me give them credit because I would have shit on them if they didn't. Shout out to Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries. They got their people in line. They got their people in order. And they did not capitulate to Trump. And the government is now shut down. I don't like that the government shut down.
Me either.
But like, it's nothing to rejoice about. But shout out to showing a backbone. It's not your fault.
Nope.
They have the numbers. If they don't want the government to be open, it's because of them. And it shouldn't really matter that they're out there telling lies. You go tell the truth. That's it. If you're going to make every move like, but they'll lie on us, then you'll never do anything. So just go and use your pulpit to be like, for those who care, that are still interested in the American truth, here's what the fuck is happening. Here's why we didn't vote for that shit. That I can get behind that. I respect that. Way more than just, well, we went along with it because if we didn't, they would have. Don't let them set the table.
Yeah.
So I appreciate them doing that, and I need to give them credit real quick, because I definitely would bang on them if they would have been up here lying in our face like, oh no, we had to vote for it. Well, what else are we supposed to do? So I appreciate that. But yeah, I still say people spend way more time. I see people that I know spend way more time talking about what Jeffries and Schumer do in a way that I'm like, I don't even know why the fuck that would matter at this point.
Right. They're a minority for a reason.
There are people who are in charge that we are not spending enough time railing against. And I get it. You can do both. But there's a lot of people spending an exorbitant amount of time on one, like people showing up to, still protest Kamala Harris at book rallies, at book sales and shit. That to me, that's such a waste of fucking time. And
yes, it is.
Now that you got what you want, she ain't in power. You get to go. You get to pretend that you were right.
Yes.
Okay. So then, since you were right. Now what we gonna do?
What we gonna do, dog?
Y'all gonna go run up on Trump?
Right. You don't want to hold any personal responsibility for that. And so, for me, I would prefer the government not shut down. But you know what I would also not prefer? For them to slash billions of dollars in Medicaid and Medicare and food assistance to just wreck the economy with the bullshit that they was trying to fucking pass. I would rather them stand their ground and say, bitch, y'all go vote and pass it. Y'all pass it. Y'all don't want to be held accountable. Y'all want to make us a scapegoat no matter what. Well then, bitch, if I vote for it, you're going to make me the scapegoat. If I don't vote for it, you're going to make me the scapegoat. We the minority, which means at this period of time, we don't have no power. Bitch, you go do it. I am not assisting you in this. And so y'all don't want to bring the House back and the Senate back because you have to swear people in and shit like that. Like, you don't want to do your job. So, if I was in their position, I would be fucking banging every day. And when people ask me questions, they go, if you want the government open, you need to ask my Republicans constituents. And that would be my words every single goddamn day. If you want this shit to pass, tell them to pass it.
Back to the YouTube comments. Dark Number says good show and guest, thanks. Nathaniel says, wow, the Haitian sensation preached a word at the end. Rob with the tush push analogy, and Karen always brings it too.
Thank you.
Jason says, I saw JL was the guest and it brightened my whole week. I think it's dope what he's doing with his new job. I'm curious to see how JL Jinx factors in. Like if he's out here advocating for keeping people in their homes, is being unhoused going to become all the new rage? I'm hoping it doesn't affect the other people. I'm hoping, what I hope the JL Jinx will be is stuff like, and I look, let's just accept that the JL Jinx is going to happen. Let's accept that it's going to happen so that it's not me wishing anything negative on JL. I'm just hoping, I'm saying the best case or the worst case. Hopefully it won't take anything as strong as like, oh, the JL Jinx means all his clients are going to not have homes. No, I think the JL Jinx is something like JL has a big case, but also there's auditions to be on a TV show or something, or he got booked to be on another season of Billions but they only can film it during like the lunch break or something. You know what I mean? So like that's the JL Jinx. I don't think it's necessarily like his clients will all die. Like that's too powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But if it can fuck him, I can see that.
JL get them small cuts.
Man, Mackenzie Scott was like, I'm the Department of Education now. The penis graffiti man guy story was good. He was out here in Arizona. The supervillain imagery is all there. The visual of a dude named Penis Man dramatically shaking up the spray can before releasing is just too perfect. Agreed. Let's see. Nothing on Spotify for this episode, and the poll was, have you been to a movie theater this year? 90% of our audience has, 10% has not.
Yes, I have.
All right, that's it. Let's go to a break and we will come back after these commercials. right, we're back. The next episode is 3165. It's Klein versus Coates. We had 3 comments on our website. Apia says, all the debates on the left now are not really leading anywhere, in my opinion. Now is not the time to vote, so all the talk is just content for me. I wonder what will those people do next time. Also, finding something not quite perfect about the next candidate, because just being supportive doesn't create so much content. Yeah, you're right, man. Listen, you're 100% right that at this point it's just content. And I think one of the things I didn't get to say, and we said so much, but I really didn't get to mention during the Ezra Klein Coates episode that we talked about. It's still striking to me how much, I know they're friends and they both discussed it in good faith, and I don't know what kind of friends they are. They could be industry friends. I don't know that they could be hang out on the weekend friends, or they could just be, we're friends and colleagues in the way that, you know,
co-workers and things like that,
the way that people just call associates friends in industries and stuff. Anyway, all that stuff to say, it did strike me as so self-serving of Ezra in a way where he just kind of wanted his conscience cleared. Because he never really truly, in my opinion, reckons with the critiques that Coates wrote in his piece about Kurt. I don't think he does. I think he spent most of that time trying to question Coates. And he even would say, like, let me ask you this. And, like, it was a lot of that. And I found that to be kind of interesting, because I don't think Coates was there to assuage his guilty conscience. You know, I think he was there to try to say, like, how did you get here and why do we see ourselves differently? And it's just content, you know. It's in some ways it was like a nicer Charlie Kirk, in that I would venture to guess Ezra Klein was not there to have his mind change or even to truly exchange points of view. And ultimately, when you walk away from that interview, I didn't feel like I walked away from that discussion and said, okay, Ezra Klein learned something from Coates and he sees where he kind of fucked up. You know, there's a point where I think Coates even said, how do you feel like that you like made mistakes or something like that? I forget the exact phrasing. But Ezra doesn't really say, he says, I've made mistakes, of course, but he doesn't say any of what they were or how. I just think that's very interesting. It's very illuminating, because you're right. It's content, right? I did click on it. I did watch it. And I don't know that anything was edified. I think most people walking away walked in how they felt. So if you were on the Klein side of politics over everything, whatever it takes to get these numbers, fuck the black people, the brown people, the women, like, if we can find a way to get the Charlie Kirk fans over here too, then maybe we can win. I don't think you listened to Ta-Nehisi Coates and went, that was a wrong way to think about that.
Right.
I see where Coates is coming from, and I don't even know that that's a winning strategy, but I know that the wrong strategy is to keep courting these people that we know are basically against us. Okay. And if you walked in thinking Coates was right, like I did, I highly doubt you listened to Ezra Klein and felt a compelling argument, like, and was like, oh, I see. Yeah. Okay. We need to have more empathy for the deplorables and bring them over. And I think the other part that was a huge distraction from it is I don't think that Klein ever proves his argument. Now, I did bring that up during the show, and I don't want to reiterate on it too long, but just, I don't think he proved his argument of that will win an election. And one of the reasons that I don't think he proved it is partially his fault. He does not truly seem to respect the work of Joe Biden and the accomplishments of Joe Biden. And that's a huge hole in his argument, because Joe Biden, to me, is a lot of the ammunition for the Klein side of this debate. But if you refuse to give that man credit, you can't really use him as ammunition to be like, oh, well, Joe Biden got the most votes of all time. He beat Trump. And he didn't beat Trump with a super leftist agenda. he beat Trump with what people perceived as a centrist agenda. Now, it might not be true that it was centrist.
Right.
We talked about that ad nauseum on here. I think Joe Biden is such a old straight white man to people in America that the second he hops on board with something, it just becomes moderate. It becomes moderate to people, not normal, moderate. Meaning, if he says give the student loans back, it goes from radical extreme leftist to, well, that's just the mainstream Democratic point of view. Now, that's not true, but that his Green New Deal was like that. The gun legislation was like that. Like, none of his stuff was called radical because it's Joe Biden, other than like super hardcore conservatives calling him radical. For the most part, your average American doesn't think of him as a radical guy. And politics is very much about feelings for a lot of people, feelings that are nebulous. You can't change them. Just, there's no math and science to just, this will change everyone's feelings. But anyway, I thought it was interesting because as I thought about it after we did this episode, I was like, yeah, it was content. It wasn't really substantial. Klein will continue to feel and say the things that he was saying before and after the Charlie Kirk thing.
Of course.
Nothing will be changed for him. And Coates will continue to do his thing. And I doubt anything will be changed from him because it wasn't really an exchange of ideas. It was just something that almost tricked us into thinking that.
I 100% agree. And, and because I know people don't want to hear this, and I've said it before, I am very simplistic about a lot of these things. I just want to vote. And maybe it's just me and my impatience and me just wanting to get all this fucking bullshit over with that we're going through. I'm like, nothing matters to me until you say it is time to vote. Everything else prior to that is a waste of my motherfucking time. All the complaining, all the imminent harm, all the debates. In my mind, it does not matter. The only thing that matters to me are the results of the elections, because that's when I know if you're serious or you're bullshitting me.
Yeah. Someone said, I enjoyed your take on Klein's Coat conversation. I would love to hear you interview Coates. Man, I love that too. I don't got his number, but I love that too. One time I wanted to interview him because I'm not saying he's like reclusive or anything, but he don't be on the internets no more with everybody, and I don't blame him. I really think I hated the internet era of like people harassing Ta-Nehisi Coates. Yes. I hated it because a lot of it was pure jealousy, envy. A lot of it was people like bad faith shit. And he's a long form, thoughtful person that I love to read I love to read his books. I love to read his long form writing. And he was a big canary in the coal mine for me, being like, I don't think this social media shit is gonna work. Because when you take someone thoughtful like that and reduce it to whatever nitpick you personally want to have so you can elevate yourself, that's not good. That's not good for any of us. Like, if you had some thoughtful, like, and it's not like every time I've read Coates or heard him speak, I've been like, agreed 100%. There's times I'm like, I don't know about that one, my dude. But even with that, it's the level of like vitriol towards him. It showed me something, because I was like, if you can't take a step back and be like, I see the kind of work this man is trying to do. And like, I remember one of the big critiques was a lot of when black feminism, TM, Twitter was trying to like get on, they were treating him like he was a gatekeeper when he wasn't. And I thought that was really bad. And by they, obviously not all, obviously not even most,
right?
But a few people were really banging on him like he was keeping people out of the game somehow, regardless of his whatever real life ways he was putting people on, whatever real life ways he was showing up, regardless of who controlled those platforms. It was like, right. I don't like that he's there and I'm not.
Yep.
And that was a big thing for it. It showed me how to navigate shit. Like, there was opportunities I was like, I don't know if that's for me, because I don't feel like dealing with the kind of person that is such a fucking transactional, like, I want to be on, that they looking at me like I'm the problem. Like, all I did, I got called, I got booked, I got right. Like, I didn't
Things
tell them not to call you.
Control, right?
But I realized like, oh, this isn't really about that. It's just you look in the bio, they got something to sell. Anyway, my point being, yeah, I'd love to interview the dude. But the irony is, I want to talk to him about comic books and shit too. Like, I think everybody will probably, and look, man, maybe he likes that, but I don't like. I'd love to talk to him about something besides just. I mean, obviously that stuff would come up, but I would want to talk to him about more than just the politics and voting and shit. Because I actually remember when he used to talk about comic books, and I mean, he wrote my favorite run of Black Panther.
Yeah, a lot of people love that run, and a lot of people have said since he stopped writing it, they was like, it ain't as good, it's not as deep.
No disrespect to anybody after him. I still need to catch up on some of the Black Panthers, but ain't nobody do it like him with the like intergalactic empire of Wakanda and the time travel space. So anyway, all that shit to say, like, there's a bunch of people I'd love to have on the show that, you know, for whatever reasons, either schedules or they, you know, and it could just be them looking at this type of show we do and being like, nah, or it's not big enough or whatever, or their own personal boundaries. You know, like, I totally understand people being like, I'm only popping up a couple times a year or here or there, and it's not going to be for you because you're not in the lane. But yeah, I would love to have him on. All right, the next comment is from Pamela, who says, yes, regarding Karen's guest spot on Insanity Check with Chris, that's where I first found you. I started with that podcast and Character Corner, and you both guessed it on Insanity Check, and never had my Hoosier from Indiana ears heard such country voices. I immediately started with your podcast, became a premium member, and I got around 800 more back episodes, 960 through 1752 to go before I'm all caught up. Oh my God, you're still doing that?
Yeah,
wow.
You've been grinding, baby.
Oh my God. That's so, you're gonna, if God willing, you're gonna have listened to every single episode we've done. That's amazing, Pamela. Wow. EVE says, I think a lot of these leftists are not getting it because they don't want to. They don't want to do the work because it's too hard, and on some level they know if they do, they will realize a large reason we're in this mess is because of them, and no one wants to take responsibility.
Agreed. I 100% agree. People don't want to take responsibility. It's easier for you to complain and do nothing than it is for you to actually do the work.
This is the lesson that Klein can't take from Coates, but it's emblematic of something bigger because it's not just them. It's kind of white people in general. And when Black people talk about how just because we're in a alliance with Democratic white folks and they are better than obviously the conservative white folks, we're always kind of emphasizing like, but it ain't perfect. It ain't great.
No, it's not.
Sometimes we deal with racism over here, even though it might be unintentional or it might be hush hush. It might take a different form, but we are still dealing with it.
Right.
And part of it is, and it's hard, right? It's hard for a person of privilege. Let's take race out of it and turn it into men, women, right? I have male privilege. I'm a man. It is hard for someone conditioned in a society to believe ultimately in themselves and to think that the way things are set up is, while it might be unfair, I'm not an unfair person, right? Individually. It is hard for a lot of times people to accept in a situation they don't know better, because society's told them they do know better. And they don't think of themselves as participating or contributing to the patriarchy or whatever it is that is downtrodden other people. Like, so for example, is the WNBA, right? WNBA. I know so many male sports figures who have never really consumed or thought about WNBA until Caitlin Clark was coming.
Right.
And part of it is they don't feel like compelled to watch it for whatever reasons. And part of it is also just they don't feel comfortable talking about it because they don't really know shit, right? And that's fine. All of us start at a place of not knowing shit. The problem is ego, right? It's my job and I still don't know shit. That's not a good look. I probably shouldn't even talk about it. Cool. So you have to basically pick your poison. Don't talk about it, and because you don't know, and then people go, you don't even talk about it. Wow, that's fucked up. Or talk about it and you don't know, and you got to deal with the people that go in that do know more than you to go, that's wrong, could have said that better, that's fucked up, you didn't know this, everybody knows that. And of course the third option, which no one takes, is start watching the sport, start learning about the sport, brush up on the history of the sport, bring on people that do know about the sport, play the back role. It works. It can work perfectly. Very few people have chosen this option.
Yes, I don't know why. Not.
Well, I do know why. It's male privilege, right? I think it's male privilege. I think it's almost a shame that because it's content, it's almost a shame that you'll see more examples of let me bring on Monica McNutt so I can shout over her from Stephen A. Smith than a true like let me listen to her. Let me accept I don't know. And you'll watch him do that with other athletes that play like football or something, and the football player says something that may sound a bit preposterous to Stephen A, but he'll even say multiple times like, now you know the game, you played the game, I don't know, da, 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 right? But when it's women, it's hard for people to be like, I actually don't know. You know, when they wore those shirts at the All-Star game, when they danced with their commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, when they were talking about there might need to be a work stoppage, negotiations. There were so many men who were like advising them and talking down to them, and I know how to get some money and shit like that. And the truth of the matter is, if they were to push their egos out of it, and especially with the fact that they don't necessarily know they don't know those women, so they don't really know anything more than just like the very surface level thoughts on them. And once Caitlin Clark stopped playing, you almost saw no coverage from those men because they don't watch those games.
Right, coverage almost
they don't care.
Disintegrated, yes.
Anyway, if they would have took a step back, they'd realize those women have been leading the fights that they are talking about advising them on. So things like getting that Black Lives Matter on the court, they did that first.
Mm-hmm.
Say her name. They did that first. When it came to getting a racist owner out of their league who owned a team, they did that without a commissioner coming in to intervene. They didn't need an Adam Silver. They were like, we refuse to work for this racist motherfucker. Y'all gonna have to do something. And they stood on that. Other teams stood with them. Other players stood with them. It wasn't a one person thing. When it comes to the way they're going at their commissioner now, they don't play that shit. There's nothing to say to them in an advisory role for real, because they seem to already have been about this. They prepared for this unrivaled thing. They prepared for this for years. If you don't recognize that work, or you don't really, or your like privilege doesn't allow you to truly see them as fully formed human beings who may know more than you, or may not need your specific help. Maybe you can just call balls and strikes on it, right? Instead of being like, hey, listen, ladies, let me tell you. Like, it could just be a, hey, I see what y'all doing. Damn, respect. Because you know what? If the NFL union did this shit, they be kneeling on the field. The Kaepernick have a job. Like, if they were like, we'll shut shit down on the principle of it, not just the fucking because we want some money, but like, we'll shut shit down because we don't like the way you get down. Right. You're not gonna make my black body do some shit that I don't fucking agree with. I don't give a fuck what the money look like. They would change shit, but there's not that amount of solidarity amongst the men, right?
That's so, because they haven't had to.
My point is, I mean, but black people have had to. But NFL players have shut it down before, right? So like, we've watched Kirk Flood, like we've watched men in situations where they had to, they would find a way, right? But now they got privilege. Some of them did get paid. Some of them have found ways in the ownership and into the, the white conservative power structure. They are no longer combined of mind, even though they are still in the same plight. They don't feel, some of them quarterbacks don't think they're in the same plight with a defensive back. You see what I'm saying?
Yes. And that's why I made that statement. And I didn't mean that for the past. I mean, right now.
I was talking about all of it.
Yeah, right. As of right now, they don't have to do that because of the how people get paid and the structure, but in reality, they are all still employees.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and so like if they really wanted to stand 10 toes down, they actually could, because they are the largest sport. It's amazing how they're the largest sport, make all this goddamn money, but when you look at the players association shit, a lot of it is some of the weakest out there as far as the men go.
Yeah.
And you're like, this don't make no sense. Y'all should have more rights.
Right. My point is, when you say they haven't had to, I just want to reiterate, they've had situations in the past where they, put it this way, the WNBA doesn't have to. They don't have to. They could be like, just sign the CBA. Let's just fucking get whatever percentage we can, go into the next year, and let's just keep playing ball. Look at the ratings. Look at the fucking valuations. We don't want to stop this train, guys. Let's just keep it going. They're standing on principle because they are convicted. You know what I'm saying? They are like, we in this together. Other players around the league are like, yeah, I'm with Fee. Like, we play against each other. I'm still with Fee. Ex players, I'm with Fee, right? I'm saying, like, it's not a matter of even having to do it as much as it's a matter of the willpower to do it. The men don't have the willpower. The women have the willpower.
I 100% agree, and in my personal opinion, I think a lot of that has to do with, and I might be wrong, but with a lot of the oppression that women have to deal with anyway.
I'm sure it does.
I think a lot of that comes from that, because it's ridiculous that as much money as y'all make 8-9% of the total profits, like 7. I'm sorry, of the total profits. Like, that don't make no sense.
Right, but what about the men that are black that have experienced other oppression outside of the sports too? Like, those, to me, those men, those 70% of NFL players, that 80-some% or whatever it is of NBA players, they do have some experience with oppression that should be unifying. And I'm wanting to point out, and I think it matters to point out, the will isn't there. The will is different.
Because that's an internal thing.
Yes.
Okay, I'm with you on that
like,
one. Yes.
They have the same, if not more, leverage.
Yes, I'm with you. Yeah, they do have more leverage.
They have more leverage to shut shit down.
Yeah, they do.
Like, shutting down a business that is even more valued than the WNBA. I put it all this to say, let's skip past it. I'm sorry getting so technical. My main point is this. If they saw the women as a blueprint, they'd be the ones fucking the NBA and the NFL up right now.
Mm-hmm.
If they saw the women as a blueprint. But I think because of our own privileges as men, we don't really see women as someone to emulate. That's why you have men like Stephen A., men like Mad Dog, who says, I don't even watch the league, and then he starts yelling on TV. You have these guys saying this stuff in almost a condescending manner, because in their mind, all they're thinking is, me, big man, listen, ladies, let me tell you women what to do, okay? Right. What you need to be doing. And maybe they do that with men too, but they can't see the optics of how it's different.
Right.
And if they were, I think, if they were some real ones, they'd be able to sit back and be like, I'm taking notes.
Yeah, and
y'all are fighting in a way that's much harder than I've seen anybody else fight. I'm not here to teach. I'm here to learn.
Yeah, and also, in my personal opinion, like a lot of men do, a lot of them are highly offended that they look at them and be like, we don't give a fuck what y'all talking about. We're going to do whatever we're going to do. Y'all can yada, 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 all y'all want to about how y'all think we wrong and how, the man speech and then tell us these things. But these are not stupid women. They're very smart and intelligent. And I think sometimes some of them people get very offended when they do things, quote unquote, the opposite or either they don't go the way that they think that they should be. They were like, basically, sometimes I hear some of them say, why ain't y'all money hungry? Why ain't y'all out here trying to get your coins, or what's wrong with you, type of thing. And you don't think that they're not offended and or upset by the words that are coming out of your mouth? Yeah,
but the thing is, they are fighting for the money. This is how they fight.
Agreed.
And I say all that to say, because that wasn't the point of my I went on that tangent to say, I imagine that for a lot of those women in the WNBA, a lot of women that are fans of the WNBA, a lot of people that are fans of the WNBA listen to our podcast, that listen to these other shows. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a level of like rolling your eyes, right? Like when you hear somebody, because you're listening to their shows, you're watching their TV shows, you're doing it because you like whatever you get. You want these people to be on point and give perspectives that you either agree with or that enlighten you.
Right.
And when you see that they're not challenging themselves, they're choosing to be low information. When you see they're relying on these stereotypes and caricatures, when you see they're still very gendered in their analysis,
right,
part of you starts to go, man, I'm not going to stop listening. I don't hate this guy, but on this area, I don't know that they're on point, and their ego seems to be bigger than just being on point. Like their ego's more important than being like, well, shit, I don't know. Nafisia laid it out. He don't really got nothing to say. She just did a good job, and we'll see how it works out. We'll check back in.
Yeah, and you know what? A lot of that don't make content, like we were talking about before. Yeah. Like
it's not sexy, but I'm sure they do it with other topics too. But my point being in a party with even liberal white folks, as a black person, we always feeling like that.
Yeah, I agree.
I use gender to make the analogy, but racially, it is still very similar to where I would not say Ezra Klein is my enemy, even if he himself seems to have let his ego turn into anyone who is saying they don't agree with me is drawing a line and kicking me out of the party. Or I have literal white supremacists on my podcast and people say they don't like that. And then they go, I'm a Nazi or I'm platforming Nazis. Well, my ego is more important than their thoughts on it because they can't possibly be right. I'm the only one who can be right here. I am doing what I'm morally convicted to do. And they just don't get it because they, and so a lot of those people that are saying that, a lot of times it's black folks, right? That are like, Ezra, I don't think the way you moving is good. I don't think it's helpful. I think you might be mistaken. His ego is more about why am I being kicked out the party, not what happens to my house when I invite a person that hates someone else into the house and go, we're all having a party together.
Yeah, and also sometimes, and this goes back to white supremacy and the things that black people have to deal with, it's very insulting because it's one of the things where they're gonna be like, it's almost like, well, I'm doing this for you people, and you be like, well, bitch, this is not what I asked for. I'm telling you, this is not what I'm demanding or asking for. And like you said, that ego part in them is going, but I'm doing this for you. I'm standing up. No, you're not. You stand up for yourself at this period of time. There is a difference between standing up for a cause and standing up for yourself. Yes, they can intertwine at times. Please don't get me wrong, but there is a difference. And sometimes when people point out that the difference, sometimes people get offended by it.
I think the lesson that I would have loved to see Ezra Klein take from that was not one of I'm right or I'm wrong, or I defeated Coates with my superior logic or he defeated me. I think the lesson that if he would have truly had empathy for Coates and all the people Coates represents in that room is a lesson of empathy that is, oh, you never get to have the perfect candidate. You never have had that. You don't have the perfect ally. You don't have the perfect friend in me. You don't you're always dissatisfied, and yet you've never given up.
Always dissatisfied.
That's the lesson that was not relayed there or communicated. It was communicated but not received. And I think that's why it's so disheartening. That's why you're going to see so many people talk about it that are black that are like, yeah, Ezra sounds like this, and this. Because what they really felt was like, you have more empathy for the idea that someone doesn't like Charlie Kirk and conservative Republicans. You have more empathy for people that said, lock her up, that said, Joe and the hoe gotta go. You have more empathy for people that said, that retweet the racist caricature of Hakeem Jeffries in a sombrero. You have more empathy for what can we do to be nice to them to get them in the house, and less for me, who is telling you I will not be in a house with these motherfuckers burning it. They not coming in, and also if they come in, I have to look at you sideways for inviting them in.
I sure do.
This is sinners. And you letting the vampires in, and you want me to look at you like we in the same fight together. We're not.
Yeah, we're not. And it's one of those things where it's like you're looking like why do you have more empathy for the people outside of the house wanting to burn the house than the people that are, I'm in here with you. We're trying to keep the house up and clean and fixing and repairing.
That's what I'm saying.
Like you said, you're defeating the
He's like,
purpose.
I want to have the biggest house party ever. And we're like, we don't want to have the house party with the people with the torches outside.
We don't want them at the party.
And the thing that he'll never be able to understand is if you let the people with the torches inside the house will burn down.
Yes, it will.
He don't understand it because in his mind, he's like, no, we'll get them over here and then it won't be as bad. And it's like, no, it'll be worse. Now our house is on fire from the inside in a way that it wasn't before. Like,
right.
Like maybe we could have put out a few of these fires. Maybe we could have figured something out. Maybe you wait until the people on the outside get exhausted and run out of resources and leave
until they come back next time. Right.
Now it's just everything burning because now we've let the fire inside.
Right.
All right. Let's see. The YouTube comments. How many we got? 9. All right. Anime Prince says in Barack Obama's 2012 re-election campaign, all his margins in every state he won in 2008 was cut in half. His white support dropped from 44 to 39%. He became the first president in modern history to win less votes than in his initial election. Afterwards, Obama was very open about wanting his successor to be Hillary Clinton, a white woman, and I think most of us remember how she was treated. I say all that because I agree with Coates. There's a cultural backlash happening and Ezra Klein doesn't want to admit that. Maybe not all of it is cultural, but the vast majority of it is. I'll give you the farmers who voted for Trump 3 times despite the fact he ruined their farms the first time with tariffs. Yeah, I think it's interesting too because like I said, it's the WNBA. If you can't really accept that maybe you're in a learning position and not the teaching position, you can't really say that you're sitting across from an equal. And in some cases, sitting across from somebody that actually know better than you. That's how it felt. It felt like Klein would have to accept that maybe Coates knows better than me. And he was not willing to accept that. So there was really no point in the discussion. Because what's the point of having a discussion if you want to accept, like, maybe they know and I don't. Let's see. LHH Imani says, hi Rod and Karen, I really appreciated this show so much. Thank you for saying what it is. The foundation of this place is a criminal enterprise. I watch Klein Coates talk. Klein wants to win at all costs, like you observed. However, all money is not good money. He just does not want to get that idea. Coates had the patience I do not currently possess. I wanted Coates to give a deep Negro sigh and say, really, ninja? Continued success to you all's expansion. Thank you. Yeah. Nah, Coates did his thing, man. And that's the kind of thing where like I could do some of what Coates did in that room. I think all of us could sit across from people and have that discussion, but I truly don't know how many of us think it's worthwhile at this point.
It's not. You're not wasting my time.
Like, I think it's almost like some of us are in a position of just huddling down and waiting this out. You know, this whole country is a Cracker Barrel right now where it really ain't got nothing to do with us, but we got to pay the cost for other people letting their guard down. Yes. And so now just huddled up trying to survive. And I don't know that a conversation is going to help me any more than just shutting the fuck up and letting you eventually, hopefully, come to the conclusion on your own as more and more shit arose around you. And you realize, you know what? Kamala wouldn't have been that bad.
Right.
Like that's how every vote black people have ever placed in this country has been. You know what? They wouldn't be that bad.
It wouldn't be that bad.
The Joe Biden election was 100% black people in the South being like, it won't be that bad. That's it. It wasn't like, God damn, I love me some Joe Biden. What my Joe Biden shirt?
For most people, he was not their number one candidate.
Yeah, but it was we get it. Y'all won't take Hillary. Joe Biden won't be that bad.
Right.
My mom says, excellent analysis of Klein Coates conversation. The cognitive dissonance that Klein and people of his mindset are disappointing and dangerous to black people and other people of color. Agreed. And a bunch of other groups too in the party. CPJ says, Morgan says, absolutely regarding your take on Klein Coates interview, Ezra thinks Coates and black people generally are being too fatalistic when being fatalistic is the way black people have always had to navigate America because we have to see reality for what it is so we can fight back clearly to make strides and life better for us. Yeah. And also like realism and fatalism are different. once again, even the framing of the argument, it felt like a gotcha. That was like the out of the fucking first out of the chamber was like, I would say you too fatalistic. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, you definitely thought about that and thought that word would be like, ooh, damn, got me there. I'm not saying you don't fight because you're gonna lose. I'm saying you fight. Sometimes you still lose.
Agreed.
Klein thinks he can live in a world where there's only winning, there's only adding, there's only progress. And I more worry about people like that giving up.
Yes.
I'm not gonna give up. You ain't never heard me and Karen, no matter what the fuck has happened, we ain't never been up in here like, well, that's it. Guys, we're not voting anymore. We won't be covering politics on this show. Don't worry about it. Like, none of us have given up, because if we were giving up because the odds were daunting, my ancestors would have gave up a long time ago.
Right.
And we wouldn't exist.
Right. And it's also, one of those things where, like, people like that are scary, because it's like the second their feelings get hurt, the second you talk against their ego, the second things don't go their way, the second they gotta push a little bit harder, the second they gotta hear shit they don't want to hear, the second they got to sacrifice, they got to give up shit, the second they not in charge, the second they can't tell other people what to do, they kind of wither and fold and run away and blame everybody else and won't take personal responsibility for these things, because at some period of time you got to have an internal talk with yourself. Because, like, for me right now, I'm not going to lie, I'm very angry, sad, disappointed. I'm still hurt about Joe Biden. I'm still hurt about Kamala. I am hurt. But you know what I'm going to do? Fight through my tears that I still do cry sometimes. Fight through that bullshit and say, I don't give a damn about how I feel. What matter are the end results. And I am not going to give up. Regardless of what I see right now in front of me, I have to have faith and I have to have hope that eventually these people will come to their senses. I hope we don't have to lose everything. I know we're going to have to lose something, because right now a lot of people are in denial about the shit that they see going around them. They would rather waste time about shit that don't matter instead of talking about the shit that does matter and holding people personally responsible that actually have power. Because and my thing is like, y'all, everybody act like they're the only ones mad. No, bitch, I'm mad too. But what I'm also doing, I'm doing what I can, and what I can do is take my black ass to the poll and vote. What I can do is talk to my family members and be like, niggas, get it together. That's what I can do. I'm not going to sit around and tell people not to vote. I'm not going to sit around and tell you that your feelings are not valid. They are valid. But once you get through this big ball of emotions, bitch, you're going to have to do something. You can't sit there and do nothing.
Yeah, I think the other, now that I'm talking about it again, I think the other thing that black people picked up on with Ezra Klein, and I know I picked up on it in politics in general, but it's why there's only so far you can go with white liberals, TM, not individually, but in mass. Bernie Sanders is a big turnoff because of this too. It's their worldview is that white people can't just be wrong. That's what it is. That's what it is. Simply that, because, and I say that because when I am like, oh, Obama lost a certain amount of white support and it never came back after his first term. Mm-hmm. I don't listen to the Megyn Kellys of the world that say he was the most divisive president ever. I think Megyn Kelly's a racist.
Right.
And I think many of those white folks who decided they were never going to support Barack Obama again, I think they're racist.
I do too.
And like where I would depart from Coates is where he says he doesn't see people as deplorables or whatever. I do.
I do too.
Individually, I absolutely think there are some people that are just beyond redemption. I'm not beholden to believe in them in that way. And so I think one of the things that holds us back is that we will not accept some people are not swayed by a political argument, but they are actually just going to do what they do. And it's not about how you play the game, meaning, well, if Hillary would have said this, they wouldn't have been sexist. and then they would have overcame their sexism to vote for her anyway. They really truly cannot process, because many of these are their family members, their colleagues, the guys they argue with,
and because I have a separation, I'm like, I don't care,
and it's not their identity. So
right.
Being a white man who disagrees with another white man in front of us, like Gavin Newsom did with Charlie Kirk, or like Ezra Klein did with Jordan Peterson, they see it only as a value add. They don't see it as I do, and many other people see it as a negative of like, oh wow, you're not really understanding this moment. You're calling it fatalism, but I think your eternal optimism that Jordan Peterson is not using you to promote his own brand and gonna go right back to his people and be racist and build his legacy and build his reach. You're the frog helping the scorpion cross the river, and then you think I'm an asshole for sitting on the side of the river on the bank going, that scorpion's gonna stab you and it's not gonna work. And you're like, wow, what a fatalistic view. That's what it is. Okay. All right, let's see. Back to these comments. This is my thought. Marvelette says, this is my thought on the Mamdani election in New York. I think this is the Bernie Sanders test of if the progressive movement without black support can work. Mamdani was able to win with less of the black votes. This would be ideal for the white liberals who want to suppress black issues in their messaging. They want a solid voting base on white voters like the Republicans. I hear everything you're saying, but when I tell you I could not care less right now because I don't live there and the voters need to decide, and I don't extrapolate anything extra out of New York City because I think New York City is like looking at Gotham and trying to extrapolate something into the rest of the DC universe. Like that shit seemed to operate on its own fucking thing, and I don't really understand it.
You don't never know what you're gonna get.
And I hope it works out for the people that live there.
Because they're the one that's going to be impacted by me sitting my black ass in Charlotte, North Carolina, when I have no impact about the mayor of New York City.
Anyway, we'll see in a month what happens. I don't even like spending time talking about that election. It's really up to them. I don't mean it. I mean it in the way that, like I said, how people that don't follow the WNBA maybe just sit it out. So like, is silence not an option? Silence is going to be my option. I don't have nothing against that man. And I really don't want to get into the shit show, the content factory that has become, where it's just Cuomo putting out AI videos and fucking Mamdani walking through the street and Eric Adams bench pressing. It feels like a Simpsons episode.
Yes.
It's crazy. And it's so designed for internet consumption that it does something to my brain that makes me feel sad. It doesn't make me feel good.
Agreed.
But good luck to everyone working it out over there. Donatio says, Rod, you eloquently summed up the whole Ezra Klein white boy state of mind. I wanted to listen to the episode, but I couldn't stomach someone willing to disregard my humanity for votes. Yeah, that's fine. I think that's what's interesting is people will come down on black folks, women, whoever, people that don't want to listen to that conversation and be like, how dare you not feel like listening to that shit? And the whole time, that's a conversation about the people that won't listen to Ezra Klein or Ta-Nehisi Coates. The whole conversation. Those are people that are not coming over to hear that point of view. Where are these stories? Where is this support? Where is this? Show me the evidence that you are swaying people. Where's all the people from the Jordan Peterson episode that's like, I was fucking racist and supporting him, but then I heard him on your show, Ezra, and now I'm not racist and I'm supporting you. It's a fucking fantasy. It's a fantasy. I'm resolute after that election because I'm like, I can't imagine a more obvious set of circumstances that we are in a fight and these are the people on the side and you just got to fight them. It ain't gonna be no negotiation.
Talking times were over. We ain't no more talking. I'm not talking. I'm not discussing. It's one of them things where you got to be on site, bitch.
The Grinch's heart is not growing 3 sizes at the end of this chapter. And that is the fatalism to me of this belief and this hope that it is on the horizon, that all these minds are going to be changed and they'll realize that they are just wrong for this. No, we can't keep holding out waiting for that. We got to figure out a way to save ourselves. Someone else put Ezra Klein and the end of phony white liberal rough critique of Ta-Nehisi Coates. Klein debate, and it's just a link to somebody's YouTube. So I don't know if it's just them trying to promote someone's YouTube on our
probably
thing.
Is. Or something that they said caught their attention. Yes.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to get like someone else to like go listen to someone else's YouTube. Anyway, I'm not clicking it because it seemed like it's a long ass. I mean, I clicked it, but I'm not playing it right now because it's 18 minutes. What am I gonna do? Play 18 minutes? So I guess that's just for people on YouTube. Dark Nandra says food for thought. Thanks. And then on Spotify, we got 2 comments. S Love says, Karen, I swear your description of yourself as a talkative, gabby extrovert matches me as a person exactly. Your story about you and Rod at breakfast and you had to get out a bunch of words. It's me. It's me. Shady Dane says, Karen, I hear you. I'm tired of fighting. I've been marching, protesting, and voting since Rodney King. I have a queer black daughter. When you're threatened, you can fight, flee, or freeze. Most people I know are in the freeze mode, waiting for black women to fight. Well, for the first time, I'm going to flee. As I type this, I'm in the airport headed to scope countries in Europe with my husband. I'm looking at this as another black migration. Instead of leaving the South, we're leaving the U.S. That's Shady Dane.
And I understand why people, feel that way. And like I said, it's going to be interesting. All them emails, all them pleas, all them we raising money and shit like that. Like, black women, depending on how you're raised and how old you are, religion and shit like that. We've been taught to give money. Like, giving money is what we motherfucking do. Sometimes when we ain't got, we give. And so it's going to be interesting when, the money's not there, the phone calls not there, you're not getting response emails back, and shit like that. Like, for a lot of people, Kamala losing was a slap in the face.
What are they going to do? Because they ain't really been quantifying it yet. It's not really organized yet. It's not an election year. But I am very concerned what happens when all these numbers come back and you're starting to see an erosion in support from black women. Nobody's fucking talked about it yet because they haven't even considered it yet.
Right. They just consider we just going to all show the fuck back up and we're not.
I don't have I have only anecdotal evidence. Somebody that collects numbers will know better than us because it's going to show up if it's going to be a problem. And the reason I'm saying that is not because there's 2 things here. The first being, I don't look at black women as like these heroes who have no humanity and they just get up and fight like Superman every day. Right. And they don't give a fuck. You can beat them down. They'll always be back. And I know there are some people that actually revel in that idea of like the super black woman. I think when you put super on anybody, you take away their humanity.
Yes, you do.
Because you make it like the bullet shots don't hurt them too.
Right, come on now. We don't feel the impact.
Black women have been fighting for their own safety. And then we have turned it into they fighting for all of us. What they're fighting for helps all of us, but they are fighting for themselves too. They're not dumb. They don't just wake up like, let me take care of the world. They wake up and they go, shit, I'm on the front row of the world being fucked up. How do I stop this? Stem this tide. And what we told them last election was not you.
Not you.
We'll take all that stuff, but we don't want the black woman rapping on it. And so that's the first part. The second part is this, and this is why I say I bring it up now. And there's time to be consulting and trying to like humanize and find the motivation to shore up that base, to make sure that black women do want to show up, that people aren't disillusioned. What are we spending that time doing? Debating how we get the Charlie Kirks of the world into the Democratic Party.
And think they're going to be okay with it? Right,
I don't know how you're not a bit concerned that next year, the off-cycle election year, that everyone's going to want a blue wave. I don't know how you're not concerned about the potential of a lack of organization, the potential of lack of volunteers, the potential of a lack of just brain and willpower. The people like, because let's say like the Shady Dane said she's thinking of leaving the country. There's a lot of people that are going to stay in the country, but they're leaving the country. You understand?
Yes, they are.
That are like, fuck this.
Yeah. And you brought up a good thing. for a lot of Black women, depending on your age and how politically engaged you are, a lot of these women head organizations, the president, vice president, CEO of a lot of these organizations. A lot of these women have a lot of knowledge and wisdom. And truth be told, a lot of these white people run. A lot of times they come to these Black organizations to do the work and go into communities that they don't want to go into.
A good friend told me after the election well, not even after the election, but when they were looking to see like who's going to replace Biden on the ticket, and they were saying, well, it shouldn't be Kamala or whatever. And I was like, it's going to be Kamala. It can only be Kamala. Honestly, every other discussion is essentially stupid. And it was Kamala, and it was her. She was really the only choice. And he's like, and I was like, because what do you do if you go to the base of the party, Black women, and go, y'all the most dependable voters, but we're going with Gavin Newsom. We're skipping over Kamala Harris. I said, what happens? And he was like, essentially, well, where else they gonna go? And I was like,
a lot of
y'all
people
don't get it yet.
No, a lot of people think like that.
Home.
Not voting.
Y'all don't get it yet.
You're going to lose.
You think everybody else are the only people that have the option to be like, fuck it.
Right.
You don't want, I don't know what you're going to do in a country where a lot of the base of the party has said fuck it, because you spent nothing but you spent every single second of this election loss talking about how you going to get some people that absolutely abhor the base of the party and you to come into the tent. I like, right. Anyway, right. Strategy wise, I don't know it'll work. And I don't want to put this on Democrats, because like the conversations are being had in podcasts and talk show. I'm not watching a lot of Democrats make this calculus. So maybe the party's not going to do it. I don't know, but some are. Gavin Newsom definitely is entertaining it. Some of the comments after the loss and how, even Tim Walz, like some of those comments were like very, I don't know that you're walking away with this without the assumption that you don't have to shore up the base. You just think, oh no, we got to get all these people outside to come in. And like I said, we'll see. I'm not predicting it. Yeah, I just know there's not enough conversation or time, it seems to have been spent about the idea or the possibility that we may see an exodus of people who just go, I don't give a fuck anymore. I'm not, and whether they vote or not, I'm not saying they won't vote, but right. They might be like, I'm like Karen said, I'll vote. I'm not giving money, not knocking on doors. I'm not like, y'all got it. Yeah, go get your Charlie Kirks. Go get your Jordan Peterson.
You told me you knew how to run this shit, bitch. Run it.
Right. So I worry about that. The poll. Do you like sex as your only gift for your birthday? Yes or no? 78% say no. 22% say yes. So shout out to those horny 22. Good for y'all. Let's get to the next episode, but first we gotta have us a bit of a commercial break so we can come back to this. Let's see. Let's go with this one. All right, the next episode is Law and Order Emojis Unit. We got 3 comments. Appia says, AI didn't get me yet, but my secret is not engaging with too sensational content, because I know when I'm fearful enough, I can't say anymore if the negative outcome is likely. My brain fires on 10 out of 10. I can get gotten by fear. I know I would get gotten if I engage more. Maybe it helps that my brain is mostly very full from the fast pacing work. It gets all the dopamine there. I don't need much extra excitement, and the upside is they pay me. As an extrovert, I also enjoy home way more in the last years. Love time to disengage and just be. My brain also needs this time to get quiet and keep functioning. Yeah, I think one thing about the pandemic is some people, as much as it hurts and affects negative ways too, some people did find like a little bit more like solace in like, oh wait, being alone sometimes, or being able to like not have to interact all the time, it can be good.
Yes, it's not always a bad thing, because for some people, they have, particularly pre-pandemic, for some people, they always felt like they had to be on. And so because of this, they could pull away, they could reshift, recenter themselves, reevaluate their lives. The pandemic caused a lot of people to do that. And so, because of that, it's like, hey, I can actually not spend as much money, not blow as much money, cut down on things, get toxic people out of my life and things like that. So the pandemic ain't always a bad thing. And some of that is actually just staying at home.
Yeah. Let's see. Justin says, when you talked about your Bevel story and said, we back, I knew exactly who he who shall not be named was, because I heard it in his voice. Mm-hmm. And it's ironic that your screen name is Justin. Yeah, I'm going to say EVE says, I personally laugh at farts because I'm immature and it's a funny sound. Wig Snatcher will never not be funny in the most circumstances. As for falling, I only laugh if the person isn't seriously hurt. I think those things just happen so unexpectedly that you can't help but chuckle a little. Yeah, I'm not talking like motherfuckers falling on and dying from a heart attack, or like a motherfucker's leg crumpling backwards.
Right.
And, I think white people laugh at shit like that, but I don't laugh at stuff like that. But like falls where no one dies or gets hurt too bad, like I don't know why, but they got 100 out of 100% people laughing.
It's hilarious.
It's fucked up, but it's true.
Yeah, I like a good D's jokes.
I've fallen myself. I remember once I was leaving a party early. It was back when I had white friends and I was ready to go home, and they was finna stay lit for the whole night. And I was like, it was cool, but let me head to the crib. And that meant I was walking by myself, and it was snowing or something while we were inside. And I was like, oh yeah, that's another reason let me just get home.
Yeah, so for you be stuck.
And I get into the parking lot, and there apparently some ice had formed between two cars. I didn't see it because some snow was over it. And I slipped, fell between the two cars onto my back. And I just laid there for like, I'd say a good 60 seconds to 2 minutes. And I laughed. I was just like, this is some bullshit.
Right? Like, this is what I'm thinking about black ass home right now.
Yeah, it was so cold. I was like, I'm not even sure if I'm hurt or not. I don't think so.
Right.
Let me start real simple, like Kill Bill, wiggle your big toe, and then
and move on from
get
there.
My body up. And it's like I was slipping to stand up because I'm between the two cars, trying to use them for leverage and all that shit. It was fun. I thought it was funny. My point is, even in that situation where I was the one feeling the pain, I was like, this is objectively hilarious though. If I was outside of our out body experience, I'd be like, oh, look at this guy fall. That was funny.
Mm-hmm.
Hearing about the AI story makes me so glad I deleted Twitter since Musty took over. It's been pure dumpster fire. A lot of these stories don't make sense anyway, and maybe the AI stories haven't gotten to me yet is because I don't know who half these people are. Yeah, I'm telling y'all, sometimes our listeners send me AI shit, and I'll be judging y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. They be like, can you believe the coach got in a press conference and said, I'll slap my dick on the ground? I'm like, of course I can't believe it, because of course that didn't happen.
That did not happen. That would be the number one fucking story everywhere.
So you think only the Shade Room on Instagram got the scoop?
Right.
You think Mike McDaniels went out in blackface and said Tyreek Hill is a bitch, and SportsCenter said, let's not cover that.
Right. SportsCenter said, not today.
But you said, let me send it to Rod. He'll understand. And I don't be believing y'all because I don't play with that AI shit. So when I reply back and be like, this is some AI bullshit, they be like, oh, it didn't get me. I just thought it was funny. You didn't say that in the description.
No, you did not.
You sent it to me because you believe that shit deep down because you wanted to believe it. And now you mad because I'm being like, you got
don't smell right.
I didn't get got. I was trying to get you. Oh, so you don't respect me now, nigga? You was gonna send it to me
I'm dumb?
without telling me it's AI? Come on. Y'all be getting got by that shit. Same vibe as getting your y'all that get your news from the memes. was like, here's a picture with words under it. Did you know Beyonce killed 3 people? I'm like, I doubt it. Where'd you find it? A picture on the neighborhood
without a link
on Instagram. Oh, okay. And you figure they covered the whole. Okay, got it. All right. Last episode comments on YouTube. Dark Namja, just winky emojis. Nicole says the Cracker Barrel switch up is crazy. I remember when Facebook changed their logo the first time. People didn't like it at first, but they kept it and everyone adjusted, kept it moving. Well, knowing that we didn't have a bunch of bots back then that could manipulate any touchstone in society, probably made that a little more real. It was probably like 7 people upset instead of pretending to be 1,700. Let's see. Jason says, man, Rod's story about Bevel and the unimpressed store clerk had me rolling. It reminded me of the Martin episode when Martin thought everyone knew him and the angry man said, man, sit your ass down. Yeah, that is funny. I remember one time when I was like 21 or so, I got a job and a job like 40 hours a week, put on a suit and tie type job. And I remember I've been, I'm on my business. I'll be in the cafeteria or whatever. I was going to get some food. And this black woman who was a coworker who I've seen around walked up to me and just started talking to me, which is fine. People talk. I was like, oh, yeah, blah, 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 whatever. And I'm like thinking to my head, like, why is she so pressed to talk to me? Like she was all smiley in my face and shit.
Yeah, start asking no questions in the back of your head.
And I was, I'm polite and kind and nice and all that stuff. But sometimes you can feel like I don't think I'm having a conversation. I think it's her just talking at me, smiling.
Yep.
And then I'm in my head, I'm supposed to process it into, oh, this is a nice, friendly person that likes me, and they just want to have a conversation. And I want to say maybe like 2-3 minutes in, she was like, yes. And that's why I have prepaid legal. Have you heard about that? You prepaid the cost. I got a card for you. I was like, oh, this is a sales pitch. Like, what? No. Now I feel disrespected because you think I'm the kind of sucker that will fall for the fucking pyramid scheme.
Yep.
This went from like, oh, maybe this nice lady is mistaken and thinks that I'm single, or she's nice and she just needs to make some friends at work or what. It went from all that to like, oh, now you think I'm a fucking sucker? Get out of here.
Right? No, thank you. I don't want this.
But that's how the Bevel situation felt, because I was like, oh, I have something to add to the oh, this isn't a conversation. This is a sales pitch for Bevel. Okay, got it.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I actually didn't know you knew the creator, so I really am impressed. Yeah. I don't know if the whipping of the slave touchdown dance would end celebrations. I think it would, especially depending on who you have do it. Like if you get, like, say the Raiders get an interception and then they get that white MAGA dude to whip one of the black defensive backs, I think
everybody lose their minds.
I think it will end celebrations. I think they will pass a rule. There are no celebrations allowed, period. Because the reason you'd have to pass a rule is not that for all of us who would denounce it, it's for the ones who would support it. They don't like us pointing out the division. They don't like when you can't ignore the division. They don't mind there being a divide. They just don't want anything where we have to talk about it. I think if it wouldn't, like I said, it would be the supporters that would be like, well, what's wrong with that? It was in a movie.
I know, because put like this, if you don't stop and next thing you know, they're going to be picking cotton and getting whooped. And they're going to be like, hey, we can't be having this.
Because then you're going to have black people that's going to retaliate. You're going to have all the people imitating on social media.
Yes, you will. All the memes and TikToks.
Yeah. In this environment, it might get you to the Pro Bowl. I can see hilarious. A new TikTok challenge called Kentan. Besides that damn Trump dance ended celebrations for me. I feel especially bad for the person who got ambushed at the churches. They did what they were supposed to do. Staying in your car rather than going to the walk-up window usually lowers the chance of an incident from 50% to 10%. Sometimes 10% is all it takes, though. Agreed. Tammy says, great episode. This is Tammy B from the chat. I had to listen back and I can't with y'all. And Aaron took longer than expected. Also, I am self-employed, so no coworkers. However, I do suggest the podcast when asked for my favorite podcast. I appreciate everyone being concerned.
We was concerned. You just disappeared. Everybody was like, wait a minute, you've been gone for too long.
She said she would be right back.
Right.
I'm like, what happened to Tammy?
What happened? Tammy, are you okay? Are you okay, Tammy?
Chat room search party. Let's go.
We were looking for you.
And on Spotify, we got 2 comments. DeFlaw says, tell me why when I read this episode description about falling, farting, and wig coming off, I thought you meant all those things happening at one time, and I envisioned Eddie Murphy's aunt falling down the steps, and I just couldn't stop laughing to myself. Once again, that joke will forever be classic because it had all of them happen at the same time, and they're all so funny. Like, that might be the silliest joke in the set, and yet it 100% laugh rate. Thaddeus says, your observations about social media algorithms, bubbles, and comment sections are 100% correct. Me and my fiance share TikToks and often watch them together. Our comment sections are always different and tailored to us. Crazy. That's so crazy that I get it, but damn. We really living in separate realities sometimes.
Yeah, it's amazing. We don't have nothing is standardized. And even your Google searches and shit like that is not even standardized, because depending on what part of the country and where you're from, sometimes will determine what your algorithm tells you.
It's just scary because, like, you wouldn't know.
Right.
Like, none of us, like, you should know. I'm not saying you're incapable of knowing, but our singular experience is unified by the fact that we're all having it.
Right.
So it doesn't register to me right away to be like, oh, I should verify that what I'm seeing on my social media is what Karen's seeing on hers. Instead, I'm like, did you see what happened on TikTok? Like, I'm talking about on NBC or on ESPN, where ESPN is the same for every single person watching it. So we all know,
yes, they are.
If the WNBA game is on, we saw the score, we saw the highlights, if we watched it. Whereas what in reality what's happening is I'm watching the game and my camera angles are different. My broadcaster is different. My announcers are different.
Right.
And then I'm talking to Karen like, did you see the game? And she's like, the game? You mean the one where they started fighting each other? And I'm like,
right.
What? It wasn't a
like,
fight.
They was brawling.
It wasn't a fight at my game. Like, that's what social media has done to us.
Yes. And even I think one time you had asked me recently, like, what do you have on your Twitter? And yeah, me and you have two different experiences. Like you said, I filter my shit. I mean, I do get some political stuff, but most of the time I don't. Most of my shit is look at these doggies, look at these puppies, and a bunch of Beyonce shit.
And they got us because our brains and unwillingness to accept, it's such confirmation bias that we have an unwillingness to accept when it's going against something that we believe or think would work. Like, I saw a listener who listened to our podcast, and so they were adding or using the hashtag or whatever. And they were saying, I don't think the Kawhi Leonard thing is about the algorithm. Like, they were saying, I don't think it's the timeline of the algorithm. I just think it's like a much bigger, it's a big story. And it's bigger on social media because non-sports fans are like fascinated by this billionaire scammer thing. And I was like, I hear what you're saying, but I can't speak for you. I know it's my algorithm. Because when I stop clicking on it, I get something totally different. And I'm not saying it's even better. It's just something different.
Right, it ain't that.
Like, for example, it was like politics yesterday. What was the other thing? There was another one of these fucking things. Oh, a whole lot of Hornet shit now. Whole lot, because Hornets preseason
is getting ready to start up.
Right. And it's not by accounts I follow. I'm on the For You tab, not following. Because I do want to, I'm like, what is it going to show me? So like, it's not like Kawhi Leonard news or tweets stop happening. Pablo's continually putting it out. If I were to click on it, I guarantee you when I go back in, I'll see the first 3-4 things is like this Kawhi story. It's not going away, but it also isn't, I think, it's not the hugest story because I have to compare it to everything else on my timeline. A lot of times, here's the newest anime. That's because that's what I kept watching.
I get a lot of anime stuff, and stuff like that. And on top of that, with your algorithm, a lot of these apps, they listen to you talk and all that stuff, so they might pick up on words that you're saying. Because, like, for us, I know it was wild, but I know last season, periodically, we would go by the Hornets game, and it would be just this one particular sign. I don't know if it was GPS oriented or what, but whenever we passed it, a lot of times it would change to something Hornets oriented. And it's kind of like that, because that just might be our experience whenever we pass that sign. Who knows?
Yeah, it's just interesting because I think, and maybe it's because I'm reading Digital Madness or whatever, but I 100% will not discount the algorithms. And I know that this is not what it used to be. There used to be a time when you go to, you could go to Twitter and you could click on trending and it would straight up give you like, what are the top 10 things that are trending right now? And now they have a thing where it's like trending for you, kind of like, it's like, no, this is what we think you care about that's trending,
right? Not what's actually trending.
Yeah, and it varies depending on the platform I'm on. On my phone, it's almost completely tailored to me, but if I do it right now on my desktop, it looks like these are the top things that are just happening possibly today, but I don't really know. Like right now, if I go to trending, it's hashtag double up, college game day, the lot, lemons, something about sports. All my top ones are sports.
How do you go to trending?
On the app.
Yeah.
You go, there's like there's like a search bar.
Okay, I see explore.
And then when you go to search, there underneath that is trending for me. But I mean, you don't have to do it. But
okay, go ahead.
So are you doing it now?
Oh yeah. I was just
okay. What does it say for you?
It says lightning fast AI. I'm on the desktop.
Yeah.
And it says double up, college game day.
Okay, so this must be the old school. This is what's trending, right? I'm saying there used to be a time where if this is what's trending, and I went to my first like tab for like my feed, it would reflect that. It won't now.
No, it won't.
So I actually don't know what is the number one thing that they're talking about on Twitter. I don't see the number one thing. Double up isn't on any of my things. College game day is not on any of my things. Oh, I know what it was that took over my feed. WNBA Kathy Engelberg. That took over my feed for a couple of days. Could it be the number one story? Possibly. But it could also just be that they know I'm interested in WNBA, so they're feeding me whatever it takes to keep me on there. Is our refusal to accept that is the manipulation is real and is happening constantly all the time.
Because everybody
is a hindrance to the bigger point, which is that we are being manipulated.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people don't want to accept that they are being manipulated. The truth be told, if you own it, that's what happens. Y'all know they've been sued. Studies that came out, like they've told y'all we are doing shit on purpose.
They know my brain goes, I would like the things I care about to be the most interesting topics in the world to everyone. So that's my default. So I should be on there like, no, you don't understand. Everyone cares about Nafisia talking about Kathy. And it's like, I'm sure they care. I'm sure a lot of people care.
Right.
I don't know that they care about it more than the government shutdown. I don't know that they care about it more than college game day. My feed says they do. But I can't trust my feed.
Nope.
All right. Let's get to some voicemails. I'll play another beat. I already got more voicemails than usual today, which means I should also open up my other browser. Let's not go through the mute the mute segment.
I thought you'd like to do that as part of the comedy routine.
Yeah. I'd like for you guys to hear it the first time.
The first time versus us replaying it.
So let me make sure that I have it right. Okay, I think this is right. Okay, the first one's from Dre.
What's up, y'all? It's Dre. So, usually I call in, I have something to say about the world or my life or what the fuck ever. I don't. This is actually literally just for the other listeners. If you are not already premium on that Patreon, if it's a week after the feedback show, so if the 7-day trial is gone, you missed your shot. But if it's still there, go get that free 7 days. You will never, ever, ever be more fulfilled by a premium package in your life.
Oh,
the premium is there's so much content on the premium. You can pick and choose what you want to listen to, and you still will never feel like you are caught up on the podcast. If you need more Rod and Karen, if you miss Justin, if you like movies, if you a nerd, if you like sports, if you like drama, if you like music, all of these things are present if you sign up for the premium. Go on and give them $15 and get in this motherfucker. Come on in here, because the water is fine. Do you hear what I'm saying? The pregame is a 2-hour podcast that come before Balls Deep, which is a 2.5-hour podcast. It's more than worth your money. And Patreon is smooth with it too. It play good on your phone. You know what I'm saying? Android or Apple, real compatible and shit. Y'all don't give my people their little money. That's it. Rod, Karen, I love y'all. Y'all the hardest working podcast there is. Anybody who don't know it is sweet. I'm out.
Oh, thank you, baby.
It's a great ad for premium, but it's 100% true.
100%. Yeah, Roger found out that if you're on Patreon, you can do a 7-day trial for both levels, the $5 level and the $15 level.
Try it out for yourself. You don't have to sign up at the end, but
don't.
if you want to see, like, is this worth it? What do I get? There you go. All right, we got this one from Allegra, but it doesn't have a transcript, and it's the full 3 minutes. So.
Hi, you two. It's Allegra. Warning, this might be 2 messages, but I'll try to be brief. Famous last words, I know. I just got through listening to Chris and Karen. Yay, what great conversation. It was so lovely.
Yay, thank you.
And it's going to mirror some of the stuff that I am about to say. I watched the Klein and Coates YouTube video 3 times now, wanting to really see the body language and hear and understand all the bits and pieces. And what I took away was the phrase whiteness TM. It's a phrase that I've been sort of bantering about, and I'm pretty sure I got it from you guys, probably you, Rod. I believe that it really sums things up perfectly. These folks are allowed to believe that they can intellectualize history of America and racism and bigotry without feeling the effects. But now that the scorpion has stabbed them in the back, they are left hurt and having a crisis of identity. Whiteness TM created a delusion, and being black in America and other is the reality. It's a hard pill to swallow. It's a hard pill to swallow for whites who are now waking up to this and feeling the sting directly. People like Ezra want to find a thing or a person to blame because it's easier. It's the American way to do that, right? But they're realizing that, like, truly realizing it's the machine, the system, the institution. It's harder to wrap your brain around that when you are part of it, when you're part of Whiteness TM. And this allows you to have privilege, to be able to have deep disagreements with people that, and then still try to work with them. But what happens with Coates and black folks is we never had that privilege, right? We were never able to put our humanity to the side because it was us. We were the ones who were having to deal with whiteness TM, the effects of it, right? The negative effects of it. We've also known that the fight was bigger than individuals. And that is why when Coates is doing his activism, when Coates is doing his writing, he's going in front of Congress, or he's writing about policy and law. He's trying to address the larger problem, not how.
Now, she got cut off and she did call back, but thing I was going to say is, you ever notice a question you've never seen asked from white people to black people is, how do y'all know not to vote for this shit?
Never, because they don't care and they don't want to hear it.
Or they assume a certain level of, like, y'all just got to do it. You don't need to be convinced. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, and also,
and like in that
conversation, we're not smart either.
In that conversation, right? They don't respect us as equals. In that conversation, even in that coalition, black people have never not been working with racists to try to get advancements in society.
Right. We've always
So
had
like to hear Ezra Klein say, this weird, almost like unspoken assumption of like, well, we have to go work with these people to win. It's like, I am. What do you think Coast is doing here? I'm not saying you're as bad as these other folks, but this is outreach.
Mm-hmm.
We're saying if you reach out over there, you're gonna lose everybody. We're just letting you know.
Yep.
You don't gotta agree, but you obviously don't agree, and you obviously don't really care, and you don't think there's a possibility that Coates is right and you're wrong. But we're already doing this. Black people are compromising every day. When you're the New Deal, that is Black people working with a racist society and framework, knowing that we're gonna probably get stabbed in the back and get cut out of the deal. You know, the GI Bill, like, that's we do that. So you're telling us to do something we're already doing as if that's the solution. And we're telling you, yeah, and you still lose when you do that.
Mm-hmm.
So we've done that and lost. Now what? Well, that's fatalistic. You know, she did right back.
Yep, it's Allegra again. I knew it. So I just wanted to finally say, you can see the stark difference, right? You can see whiteness TM versus being Black in America. And Coates even said it within the interview. He was like, I'm not looking at the individual. I'm not even trying to throw individuals away. I'm focusing on policy. And I think this gets lost with people like Klein because he thinks he can go one person at a time. You know, I don't hate Ezra. I was even following and listening to Ezra up until recently. That last interview he had with Ben Shapiro kind of said it, made it very clear where he was headed and what he was doing. And yeah, I just feel very frustrated when people are not realizing what's right in front of them. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I look forward to hearing from what you guys have to say further on it. And yeah, thanks for always tapping into my brain. And again, thanks for, speaking up and being honest and, vulnerable in these times.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for calling in again. Let's see, we got another, but yeah, I agree with pretty much everything you said, and I think we reiterated on this episode. All right, here's another one.
Hey, Rod and Karen, this is Kiana. First of all, Rod, thank you for saying that the new dial-in number is in the show notes because I had the old number and was trying to figure out why it wasn't working. So anyway, hopping into it, when I watched the video of Ta-Nehisi Coates and Ezra Klein, I was waiting to see if you guys were going to talk about it because I really wanted to hear what y'all see was. I totally sympathize with Karen being like, I don't want to listen to it, but just to like reiterate what Rod said and what Ta-Nehisi Coates said is like the whole emphasis behind Ezra Klein's article that he wrote and everything he said was like, this moral stand he was taking against political violence. And I'm like, dealing with political violence is just a part of being Black. Like, it's a part of your everyday life. Like, being harassed by the cops, that's political violence. Having your vote suppressed, that's political violence. Your school's been underfunded, that's political violence. Dying at a higher rate than white women, that's like, all of it is political violence. And so what he perceives to be political violence is the most like, on the edge end of the spectrum of political violence. And everything that he's saying, he's basically saying like, oh, and also you should deal with more political violence because I want to invite these people into the party. For what? You're not going to have any long-standing political wins with these people because they're not going to give up anything that they feel entitled to.
Right.
There's no point of having the party of the big tent if you invite people in. You want to require that their needs be met first, while who are actually still don't get their needs met. Like, nothing that he said we need to give up is anything he needs to give up. He's not having his birth control restricted.
True.
He's not having his access to medical care restricted. He's not having his vote suppressed. It's like, in a world where you could be anything, Ezra Klein, could you please just be fucking for real? Anyway, that's it. Bye.
Hey, you know what? That's such a great point about how every right he's negotiating is someone else's rights. And in addition to that, the thing he would have to give up is his ego, because many of us would no longer see him as the white hat that he wants to be seen as. And he's not even capable of giving that up, because that interview, that article, and the sit down with Coates, it was greed. It was greed. He was greedy. He was like, I want you to still think of me as a good guy. Your article about me made me feel like maybe you don't think what I did was good, or maybe you don't think I'm good.
That's why he invited him on the show, because he felt a certain way about how he wrote about him. Yes.
If we can sit here for the hour and say we're having the conversation, that will be proof in itself of something. And nothing a certain type of white liberal values, actually white people in general, but nothing they value more than the conversation.
Right. And the thing is, maybe for me, that's just one of the buzzwords. As soon as you say that, I tap out, because I'm like, the fuck we talking about? Conversation about what? What is it going to change? Is what are the end results? Like what are your battle plans? Or are we just fucking putting words out in the universe just for content? Because if you are a person that's been oppressed, or your people have been oppressed, after a while, you know what? You'd be like, fuck a conversation. It's time to fight, bitch. After a while, you're going to be like, hey, there's nothing you can say to make me change my mind. Now we got to go fisticuffs. Now I got to go out here march and protest and shit like this. There's no words you can say. No more conversations that can be had unless we're passing motherfucking laws and bills, bitch. That's a conversation. Just randomly talking about it ain't going to change a motherfucking thing in my life.
I think conversation is important. But if it doesn't lead to conversion, then it doesn't really lead anywhere. Just to say you had it is not the end goal. And I think for people like a certain type of person in America, the end goal is that the conversation was had, not, like he kept alluding to these conversations. We need to be having these conversations. And it's like, okay, but what will be changed? Because the conversation, as you alluded to, cannot be the end game. It can't be what we can't go home celebrating that we had a conversation. We need to be celebrating the impact. And if the impact isn't shoring up our rights, freedoms, then I don't really have time or care or have any value for just the idea that we sat down. That means nothing to me.
Right. And on top of that, a lot of people with privilege like to have conversation because they don't have to invest anything in a conversation. The conversation does not require, not trying to be funny, anything on their part other than their hypothesis, their scientific words and big words. That's all it's doing.
It's theory. It's
yes,
theory,
yes.
Yeah.
Because you're not directly impacted by these things, because when you have somebody that's being directly impacted by these things, the quote unquote conversation that you have, when they bring shit up, you fucking dismiss it. So what is the purpose of this conversation when people have valid anger? Their anger is valid. They're smart. They're intelligent. They're breaking the things down. They're telling you these things on an intellectual level, and they're still being dismissed. Bitch, I don't want to talk to you.
Yeah, I just think at the end of the day, a person like Klein feels validated in that he had Jordan Peterson on his show, and he also had Coates on his show, and in that way, he is a neutral good, and those two things show his virtue, and that is a value system issue that he would not understand how many of us look at that and go, we don't value that, and if anything, that's kind of a mark against you.
Mm-hmm.
And he don't like that. He's like, you're drawing a line, you're kicking me out. I didn't call you a Nazi. I'm not kicking you out.
I'm not kicking you out.
I do not have to put you on a pedestal, and I don't have to accept like your content is the bridge that you think it is. I can think it's just wrong and bad the same way that I'm sure you do with people.
And also the biggest part, why do I have to respect your opinion when you don't have to respect mine? Like you can come in with all these opinions. I gotta respect that though, because it's you.
Why do you think he doesn't respect the opinion?
Because like during the conversation, the part I heard when Coach was coming out with things, it was like, yeah, he was talking, but at the end of the day, you don't respect it. You don't respect it because you just want to have a conversation. So in my mind, when you just want to have these conversations, you're not trying to get, you're not giving anything that will actually fix it. You're not giving anything that will actually really add to what I'm saying. All you're doing is you're consistently rebutting what I'm saying and coming up with excuses. So my thing is, you want to put out this long ass article and you want me to pat you on the ass and say it's all good and love your words, and to not be offended by anything that you say. Okay. You don't want me to be offended, but that's why he want to talk to Coach, because Coach came out and said, I don't like what you said. So because he didn't respect your opinion, all of a sudden your ego pops up and we have to sit and respect your opinion, but you don't have to respect mine. No, I have the right to rebut what you say.
The only thing I will push back on is I don't think he was trying to express a lack of respect for Coach's opinion. I don't think that's what's happening. I think his measure of respect is the idea of sitting across from somebody, them saying something, and then you saying something back. I think that's how he measures respect. I think I'm with you in that I felt he was basically a brick wall who was there to say, look at me standing in the same room as this guy that we don't agree with, but I will not budge or come off of anything. I will not learn from this. I will not come out of this and say, damn, you know what? Coach pulled my card, but he was right. I went too far. I shouldn't have said it that way. It's like, no, I'm going to smile. I'm going to nod. I'm not going to yell. I'm going to wait my turn to speak. But when it is my turn, I will continually to steadfastly say, regardless of what your opinion is,
right,
my opinion is just as valid. So that's why I would say in his mind, he wasn't, I don't respect your opinion. In his mind, respect is the same way he respects Jordan Peterson. Like, we both sat in this room, we both exchanged ideas, we didn't raise our voices, we didn't cut each other off. Mm-hmm. I have as much respect for your opinion as I have for Ta-Nehisi Coates' opinion.
Right, and I don't. So
yeah. So I just wanted to point that out, because I know there's gonna be people who are like, what do you mean? They're friends. He does respect his opinion. He has him on the show more than anybody else. I hear you. I just think his measure of respect is different than mine. Mine Agreed. Is one of taking things in, considering. But it doesn't mean you have to agree. Doesn't. No. But mine, I don't know that. I think there are some times where only one of you gets to be right, and this felt like a conversation where true person who was taking in what Coach had said would have had to have been changed fundamentally. And I think Coach went into that Klein went into that conversation with the goal of not being changed fundamentally.
Agreed. So.
And maybe that's how he went into the Jordan Peterson conversation as well. But there's a I don't know what the right word is, but there's a commodification of respect. I don't know what the right word. That's not 100% the right word, but like there's a certain sort of like commerce. There's sort of a transaction. There's a transactional respect that is happening, and that they would call it. It's like, I respect Coach because I let him exchange ideas and I didn't shut him down. So I respect him. And to me, I'm with you, Karen, in that it doesn't feel like respect to me. It feels like you're just, you're just jacking off on the fact that you both that you're both in the room together. But I don't know that I would call it respecting his opinion, because if you really have respect for it, I think it's almost impossible not to have some level of like, shit, I was wrong.
Right. And also I think for me, you're right, because about him reversing respect, but for me, Coach was to stand in for me. So you don't respect him, you don't respect me. Mm-hmm. And so as far as I'm concerned, you don't respect his opinion, you don't respect my opinions.
Respect for you would have been, you would have measured it as him taking in this opinion, considering it, and then having been changed by it.
Or at least willing to have some form of listening. Like it's almost like you came in with your points, and regardless of what was said, it was nope, check, nope, check, nope, check, nope, check, nope, check, nope, check, nope, check.
Well, so I listened to the whole thing. There were times where I don't think it was just no. It was like, maybe that's what the clips that Chris played for you.
Right.
But I don't think the whole thing was just nope, nope, nope. It wasn't like that to me. But the general tenor of the thing was, I will not be changed by this.
Right.
So I mean, there's enough to pick up off the vibe. Like, it wasn't adversarial.
No, it
and
doesn't
I
have
think
to
the
be.
way they measure disrespect in that type of lane is one of like, oh, you're cutting him off. Now, all that to say though, another huge point against Klein. If you had so much respect for the work that Charlie Kirk was doing, if he was doing it the right way, you probably should have been cutting off Ta-Nehisi Coates, right? You probably should have had, a subtitle to your YouTube video: Klein slams Coates, destroys DEI liberal.
And ain't there no people you claim you want to go for?
If if set up shop outside of, some racist area or something. Like,
Right.
I don't believe he has respect for Charlie Kirk's work just because he says it. I was envious of what he built. Then go build it.
Right.
You're not doing that work. You're just sympathizing with people that sympathize with a racist because of the way he was taken out.
Yeah, and you don't have to yell for it to be, I don't want to say adversarial, but you don't have to yell in order for somebody to be like, hey, dog, I don't like the way this feels, and I feel like I'm not being respected. No, we're not yelling, we're not screaming. But like I said, because I'm personally very sensitive to those types of things. Me personally, I'm kind of picked up on from what I've heard, and I'm like, no. Like, and like I say, for a lot of times for me, I heard wah, and it's a smack turn off. Like, what are we doing here, and why are we wasting our time?
Okay. Yep. All right. Next voicemail.
Oh yeah, Dre. Whatever. You can see. Karen. I heard what you said about probably not listening to Kamala's book or reading Kamala's book, or maybe only kind of diving in a little bit. I felt the same way. After the election, I did the same. I deleted all my social media apps. I couldn't even stand to see people talk about that shit anymore.
Agreed.
So I really felt like it might be a little triggering to get into this book. I didn't know how much I needed this book. It's like, I don't know. It's a really good fucking read. And that's it. I started the audiobook yesterday. I'm 63% done with the book already. It's really fucking good. And I don't know. You know yourself better than anybody. So if you don't think you're ready, then you're not ready. But I felt the same way. And I'm like literally in love with this book. But anyway, that's it. Love you guys. Peace.
Thanks, Trey.
Yeah, and I understand that. I'm glad you said that. Like I said, is one of the things where, a lot of times you have to be truthful with yourself and kind of where you are. I know I probably will eventually do it. I don't know when. Like not trying to find it. Maybe it's just I feel like I have to be in the right frame of mind, because I think, like I said, right now I'm just very angry. I'm super, super, super angry and super, super hurt. And I do not know when I'm gonna get over it, y'all. I'm not even gonna lie. And everything that's happening right now just reiterates and rekindles that flame of why I'm mad and justifying my reasonings for being mad. And I know it's probably a great read, a great book. Like, everybody has raved about it. Everybody says it's good and things like that. Like I said, I know I will eventually win. I don't know, but I will eventually do it. I don't know when, like I said, when my mind will be at the right place or spot to be able to receive that.
All right. Next, let's go to the next segment, read y'all's emails, and then we'll wrap it up.
These extremists want to take us back, but we are not going back. We are not going back.
Music. Hold up.
Ours
Hold up.
is a fight for the future,
Hold up.
and ours
Hold up.
is a fight for freedom. We are not going back. We are not going back.
Then we went back. All right. Emails, theblackouttips@gmail.com. Stephanie says, not me getting laughed at on this pod. When I said y'all were going to take off, I didn't mean to say it was for Charlie Kirk. Sometimes when a lot of stuff happens in a week, some pods take off to catch up with the news. Now, girl, Stephanie,
that's hilarious.
when have we done that? We got thousands of episodes. When have we been like, guys, the news was too much, we need a break?
If anything, we probably did need to take the time off, but we mean like, you know what, bitch, it's a holiday, we don't care, do a show.
Yeah, when I take time off, it's because I'm tired.
right, one of us is tired. Yes,
it's not because whatever the fuck like is happening, like the news is crazy. It's because I'm tired. I'm going crazy. Laugh my ass off. I didn't mean y'all were sad for him. Crazy few weeks, Stephanie. It's all good.
That's hilarious.
We make fun out of the stuff that comes in.
Yeah, that's our love language.
I can't just take every email 100% face value serious, because if not, then this will be a boring show that you wouldn't want to listen to.
It would be.
So some days we gotta joke with y'all. Charlene says, "Hey Rod, as a belated birthday anniversary gift, I took the liberty of running your show art through Google's AI tools. I've been a little busy these days teaching AI for Google and them, but just know that while I'm up late playing with the latest AI tools, you and Karen are my coworkers talking about the news and keeping me company. Enjoy this little vid. And if you want to send me some clip art, I can make it do whatever you want it to do. I've got lots of credits to burn through, so I'm up for just about anything. Enjoy it and keep up the fantastic podcasting." And y'all know I don't mess with the AIs, okay? I don't, especially with how it steals people's work and take credit for it and all this stuff. But I'll make an exception in this case, not because it's us, but because I saw what she did with it, and the thing that she did with it is not taking anybody's work. It's from I'll show you guys. It's not taking anybody's work. It's actually from a Bitmoji. So it's just animating this Bitmoji as opposed to like taking some human being's work and being like,
right,
let me steal it. So this is the Bitmoji, and she animated it.
Oh, that's adorable.
Karen, it hasn't done anything yet.
Oh.
This is just Bitmoji. This is just the show art that I use. You haven't even seen anything yet.
I just like it's adorable with the heart.
Okay. All right. Well, that's not her work, is my point. I'm about to hit play and show you what she did.
Y'all see what he got to deal with?
So I guess the heart starts moving and jumping up and down. Then it disappeared and wrapped us up in the heart and said happy anniversary.
Oh,
so that was cute.
Yes, that was.
I like that. Thank you. And like I said, I normally don't fuck with the AI, but since this is no human beings were harmed by this AI.
No human beings were harmed in the creation of this AI.
Let's see. Sid said, in Homegirl's defense at Ulta, you told her you were a podcast host. Black man podcaster has come to mean a lot of things. Also, I'm like, and then I helped her because I did some on the website and she wasn't able to get in, and I fixed it. But
that's hilarious. I didn't think about that, but it can mean a lot of different things.
That was literally the first thing I thought about and was like, fair. But also I realized she was just pitching her thing. She didn't care about she didn't care about me at all. It's fine.
I need to sell.
She know I'm not gonna be back in there for it till I need some more shaving cream.
Right. They're gonna be like, he ain't coming back.
Conspiracy theory on Cracker Barrel, says Crystal. Hello, Rod and Karen. I'm listening to your conspiracy theory regarding the Cracker Barrel and it being bots. I'm so glad that you're covering the story, and your conspiracy theory is what I have observed as well. I will have plastered on my timeline about woman goes viral or man goes viral for blah, blah, blah. And my first question is always gone, viral where? I've never heard anybody speaking about the story or who are these people, or that sounds like an issue between the two of them and in their families. These are not celebrities. Why would I care? But what I can tell you is always there's fighting but underneath these types of stories. So then it's almost like you're creating it to go viral by simply putting that in the first few sentences of the story. And there's always some random picture of somebody, whether it's AI generated or these butt stole somebody's picture. I do feel like it is insidious. I'm not sure if it's some type of psychological experiment that is being done with social media, but I scroll and keep going, and I'm always shocked that the people in the comments don't realize that this is either a fake story or something that's just clickbait. Yeah, man, and it gets all of us. It's very hard. There's been times where something's made it through all the way to our podcast where I'm like reading something and realizing I'm like, wait a minute. No, this can't be true.
Right, this don't sound right.
But it's because it's cleverly designed to stick our biases. So they know that I feel a certain way about shit from everything I've clicked on and read and wrote. And they're like, He'll believe this bullshit. Let's show it to him. And it works. I've also had an inclination about this new Mandela effect and wondering if this is a way to get people to question their own memories. If you tell somebody something never happened and it was a figment of their imagination, then people will start to believe that, especially when it comes to other things that did happen, but they pretend did not. There are several things that supposedly were the Mandela effect where people were able to debunk because they had photos of the actual product or whatever it was to prove that this is not a figment of their imagination, but it did get me thinking that this is some type of social experiment to erase certain things in history by pretending you just misremembered it. Especially now that everything is digital, we don't have hard copy encyclopedias or VHS tapes to prove. I don't know if I go so far as they're going to Mandela affect us, but who knows? What I will say is, you're 100% right in that these tools can be utilized that way. Mm-hmm. And the people in charge of them clearly do not seem to give a fuck about us as people. So I wouldn't put it past them to try. I don't know if they specifically Mandela affects something like, let's make everybody forget the submarine imploded. I don't know if they could do that, but I think the idea of something like we see already where people create fake pictures and shit and be like, oh, did you know Ted Cruz was at the March for Selma? And it's like, it's a black and white AI photo. That's him. It might not get me, but it's going to get somebody.
Yeah, it is.
You know, there's people out walking around thinking Trump wrote them a check during the pandemic, right? So
Trump didn't write you no check.
Yeah, they do know you put the lie out there enough, it can happen. At least writes in an email that's really a voicemail. It says, hey, Rod and Karen, it's under 3 minutes. I can try to leave this message on your phone line if it works better. Lily from BK. All right. Oh, wait, they're not going to be able to hear it. Hold on. Yeah, call the voicemail if you can. Mm-hmm, yeah. I prefer the voicemail. It's just easier for us to deal with that. And we have a voicemail segment for that reason, you know. So please do that. But
it's in the show notes.
Here's the voicemail, I guess.
Hi, Rod and Karen. This is Lily from Brooklyn. I want to thank you all for the nice things that you said about my Did We Forget segment idea, maybe podcast. So amazing. First off, I have to tell you, I did not even listen to the episode where my voicemail was featured. I actually read a transcript of the show because I don't like to hear my voice. And also, keeping it a buck, I was a little nervous that you guys would give me some not nice feedback. So not because of, it's just the first time I reached out to you all, it was about Joe Biden and that I thought he shouldn't have run for a second term. And, you know, Rod kind of got at me. It's cool, you know, difference of opinion, no big deal. But I was really nervous to listen. And it actually wasn't until the next week when I was listening to the feedback show and someone said, wow, she sounded great and it was a good idea and she has a good memory, to which I say, I literally walk in a room and can't remember what I'm there for, but I can tell you some shit that happened like in the 90s. So, and actually before. So that was like just really nice to hear. And also that caller called me a girl. She was like, oh, that girl with the voicemail, blah, blah, blah. I was like, girl, wow. I haven't been called that in a really long time. So shout out to her and to the listener who said I was cheating with 6 minutes. My bad. I did not realize that I had recorded for 6 minutes. I just was trying to get out the thing about Karen at the funeral, the thing about not forgetting the 3 people I wanted to, and I was not paying attention to the time. I'm looking at the time now. I'm a little over 2 minutes, so I don't want to cheat anymore. I just wanted to say thanks, and I probably will be responding to some of the show segments, but I will do it in an email. So thanks, you guys. Love you guys. Love the show. And yeah, I got to work on that. Did we forget the girl or the woman from Jane the Virgin? Okay. Peace out, y'all. Love you guys. Bye.
bye. And yeah, you should do that. I'm not joking. I think it'd be a great podcast
I
idea.
do too.
And maybe that could be the solution for the email before you, who was talking about the Mandela effect. Maybe you could anti-Mandela effect and be like, no, that did happen.
Yeah, and the thing is, at least you're very understandable, because the thing is, when you guys write in, we have opinions and things like that. No, we're always not going to agree on everything that y'all write in about. So I appreciate you, not because sometimes when me or Roderick says something that somebody doesn't agree with, sometimes people take it as a personal attack. It's not a personal attack. It's just we just don't agree on this particular topic. And I'm glad that you listened, and I'm to the people commenting about you. And I think it's a great idea if that's something that you choose to do.
Yeah, and we put out opinions that I'm sure y'all disagree with. The feedback show is for that. And I try not to take anything into a personal realm that's not personal already, but I'm human. We get passionate. I'm sure you are very passionate about whatever you wrote in about. And so, but it's not like some default, like Lily wrote in, oh hell no. Like,
no, it's not, baby.
Yeah, I hope people don't feel that way. But yeah, I do want people to know that we'll 100% keep it real. Like, I don't want people writing up thinking that like we don't give a fuck and anything goes. But yeah, 100%. Like that. I'm glad you understood or took a chance and submitted something else, because I don't want this to be the place of, well, we disagree, that's it.
Yeah, it's not dictatorship.
I'm not spending like the one woman, I can't remember who it was, that was like, I don't mess with trans people, and she just kept writing in every week. I'm not doing that shit.
Nope.
I'm not Ezra Klein.
Will not.
Most I got for you is a good, like, well, you just gotta work on that. Good luck.
That's a personal thing.
But I'm not finna be debating somebody's rights with you every week. But I don't remember that being what you said. So we good. All right, last one. She wrote in again, this time in write form. Hey, Rod and Karen, written form. Write form? What? In written form. Hey, Rod and Karen, I really appreciate when you gave an in-depth analysis, Rod, like you did on the Ezra Klein, Ta-Nehisi Coates conversation. I'm always interested in what Coates has to say, but Klein is so himself that I thought I would skip it and just read transcripts of the outtakes. However, I may give it a go after hearing your critique, which was pretty spot on both of them. And your takeaways from the conversation. Like you and Karen, I used to listen to Klein's show mostly when Kamala was running, but when that mofo started Monday morning quarterbacking the reason she lost, while also blaming Democrats as a whole, I started checking out. Then I noticed that all of his guests were white people, mostly men, after the election as well. In fact, the only two people of color he had on when I was listening was some guy of color who worked for Bernie, who was basically co-signing all of Bernie's gripes, and Coates, who was talking about his latest book, the one where he talks about his books being banned here in South Carolina, his time in Senegal, and his time in Palestine and Israel. I guess which part they spent the whole show discussing. What really set me off was Klein was when he was pushing his own book called Abundance, I think, where he and his co-author basically said Democrats weren't creating enough housing and that's why they were losing. And that's when I legit said, enough of this guy, me done. And I haven't listened since. Yeah, it's what it is, and I think in his mind, and it's got to be an ego thing, he feels like that's drawing a line and you're taking me out of the party. It's like, motherfucker, I don't have to listen to everybody that vote the same as me. We not always gonna be in lockstep, and that's okay. Plenty of other shit to listen to. Do you listen to everything? Have you heard this podcast? No, you're an opinion giver. Other people give opinions based off your opinions. You're putting it out there. It is not, no one is beholden to be gracious to you about it. It is what it is. You can respond in kind, but just understand that like the job isn't one of universal approval. You're not the politician. You're supposed to be covering it.
Not the politician.
But he kept saying we, like he was part of the fucking Democratic like election apparatus, and maybe that's what he really envy about Charlie Kirk. Like maybe that's really his thing is I like that he was able to get his own people into the Trump administration. That's what I want to do. And maybe that's where his envy truly is, and that's why he thinks he did things the right way, regardless of how it turned out.
Oh, and something I wanted to bring up for the person that wrote in and said, just because I didn't listen to the show.
Oh, I did not read their comment, and I did hide them from the YouTube channel on purpose because I knew that comment would just be another one of these like asshole comments. But I just wanted to let you know the reason I didn't read it was because I was just like, oh, Karen probably, it's just why give that person energy or whatever. But if you want to respond, I don't mind. I just want you to. I didn't get rid of the comment hoping you wouldn't bring it up. I got rid of it because I was like, it's a garbage comment. You might as well just ask. You know, I've never listened to a day of fucking Charlie Kirk's whole shit. I don't like. Can you imagine someone? Well, you didn't read all his. I got the gist, bitch. I think I'm good. Erring on the side of I don't need to hear more of this, but go ahead.
No, I'm commenting just because of the conversation we just had. For that person that says that I didn't listen to the podcast, so I shouldn't have an opinion. When we was talking, I said something that was not valid on the show, and Roger corrected me because he did listen to the show and he put out the facts that was not a valid thing. So, you know, I can voice opinions and be wrong because, and the thing is, a lot of people consume a lot of shit and have a lot of opinions about a lot of shit that they don't actually listen to, you know, because people have opinions. And we do a show together, and I'm allowed to voice my opinion.
Yeah, of course. And there's a world where I would have not listened to it and still would have wanted to talk about it.
Right.
Like, we like, as long as we're upfront about it, I don't even know what the gripe would be.
Right.
Like, hey, I didn't listen to this. If you want to disregard my opinion, you do it. The onus is on you, listener. I'm telling you, as the amount of information that I have, I didn't listen to the whole thing. I'm giving my opinion anyway. Don't write in like, you should have listened. Well, get a fucking time machine, bitch. I'm not going back.
And I'm not going to listen to it.
Yeah, and I'm surprised. You know, it's funny because, you know, and this is the reason we stopped reading those emails. Because if in another world where you don't say anything the whole time because you're like, I just didn't listen, then people go, well, Karen didn't even say anything. Rod just talked the whole fucking time. She didn't even give his opinion. Like, I want to hear Karen's opinion on things. Okay, you got that. Let's say we do this thing, I don't correct you. Someone writes in, Karen was wrong. She didn't listen, and that's why she was wrong, and you should have told her that she did it wrong.
Right.
Okay, I correct you. Normally we get another motherfucking sensitive ass motherfucker out there to write an email. Ron, you should not be correcting Karen. Just let her be wrong and say what she want to say. Hey, man.
We can't win.
Y'all do it.
And that's hilarious.
You do it. That's the only thing I got. You go be better than us then.
Yes, please go be better than us. That's all I ask. You know, because this is a bit, you know, a lot of hard work. So I you know, go out there and do a much better job and catch all the errors.
Be the change you want to see in the world.
Ain't that the truth?
And when you get more than 5 people listening, then you'll start to feel the pressure of like, oh, I can't be perfect. I'm a person. I wish you had stayed in Brooklyn when you were working in New York, because then you would have had a clear understanding of what I'm about to say. Ezra Klein is so fucking Carroll's Garden, Park Slope. These are the 2 neighborhoods that have been solidly gentrified for decades. He's the typical of the most recent resident to Carroll Garden who thinks he's progressive but moves into the neighborhood and takes over the public school of black and brown kids to make it better until suddenly it's a school for their kids and the others disappear. Check out the podcast Nice White Parents. Ezra Klein is a political podcasting gatekeeper who sees the importance of someone like Charlie Kirk, but not the importance in black women who are the base of the Democratic Party, period. Yeah, it is telling. Like I said, I stopped listening, but even at the time I did listen, it's very telling, because when you're the gatekeeper of your own podcast, look, we're podcasters. We pick and choose. This is not a public platform. Just because you write me an email, can I be on your show? There's a very small chance that you're getting on our show. Very little, honestly. We reject way more people than we accept. Because I don't know you. And I don't necessarily want to do the kind of work I want to do on this show is the kind of work we want to do. Mm-hmm. It's not like, oh yeah, it's just the blackout tips for everybody. It's the blackout tips for Rod and Karen first and foremost.
Ain't that the truth?
We'll do every episode with nobody if we want to.
Oh, we sure could, and we could.
So my point being, as a creator, I understand that he gatekeeps his platform. Now it's the New York Times. I'm sure blah, blah, blah. Mm-hmm. They probably got a bigger reach. He probably could get anyone just about to be on this show if he wanted to.
Right.
But my point is, it tells a story who he has on, you know, and not to be too cynical, but I'm about to be too cynical. You know, Ta-Nehisi Coates, if you listening, turn this off. Okay. Just skip past like 5 minutes. Matter of fact, this is about to be the end of the show. So just go to the next episode. I don't know that man is Ta-Nehisi's friend. I don't know that. Cause to me, I don't know what kind of person has the platform like that. And this is just more of a problem with the industry, but there are very few people that have a platform that feel like platforming somebody that will disagree with them, which he, to his credit, he did with Coates. I thought that was actually, putting that out was not just risky, but also some could argue almost foolish. Because how many people walked out of there like, God damn, that was a 1 hour evisceration, right? But also like the steadfastness of not really listening to the dude is not the flex that I think he thinks it is. And so even if he opened his platform to have more black women, which would be awesome, I don't know that, like, the idea would be awesome. I don't know that the execution would be awesome, because it just turns into a dude not listening to black women either.
Right.
I won't say the name of the podcast, but those that have been listening to a long time, y'all already know the name of the podcast I'm talking about. I just don't want to bring it up because I'm not trying to be shady.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the bigger point. But there was a podcast I listened to during the election cycle for Hillary Clinton versus Trump. And the podcaster was a dude, and he had a bunch of black women that would be co-hosts that sometimes would rotate, sometimes be the same people, but it was almost like typically this dude and then like a black woman. That was basically the dynamic, whoever the black woman would happen to be. And he spent basically the better part of a year or two just shitting on Hillary Clinton from the second she was announced to the fucking election. And there was a lot of reasons why he refused to vote for her. It was a lot of reasons why she needed to earn the vote, and if not, she was going to lose. And why he didn't need to even vote, because he lived in a place where it was blue, so if he voted, it didn't matter. And a lot of the people that listen to this show were black women who were very politically inclined, politically active. The people you're shouting down, disagreeing with, refusing to listen to every single episode for months on end were black women who were politically active, informed, intelligent black women. People you put on that platform because they were so well respected, reasoned, and smart. And there was never a thing they could say that could move you in any way, not even an inch. And when you listen to somebody do that for months, and it's not necessarily adversarial, meaning they're not yelling, they're not, or sometimes, but not, like it's not disrespectful and like, fuck you, you dumb motherfucker.
Right.
It's not like that. It's just, you could basically be crying, begging me, like, you have to wake up. This is a big deal. She could lose. And part of this is that we need to ensure that Trump is not come to power. And he would just basically be like, well, that's him. That's, like, she need to do a better job. She need to do. It's like the only thing by the amount of critiques by the end, the only thing Hillary Clinton could have done is not be Hillary Clinton. There was literally nothing that she needed, a time machine to where she would not even be Hillary Clinton. That's the only way this guy was going to vote for her. And this was a pretty liberal, progressive show. And I don't know that Ezra Klein would be any different. I feel like he'd have a black woman on, but he's going to do what he did with Coates. He going to, like, those black women aren't there because I think he doesn't truly value their opinions. And I don't know that he truly values Coates' opinion, is what I like. It felt very like, you're here for the optics of at least you were here, and the conversation is important, but not an actual conversion of thought is important. And that's what that podcast that I was talking about earlier ended up feeling like. It's like his brother who has black women there, so he can say, I had them here. Like, they here. It's like, well, are you listening to them? Not really. Can they change your mind? Impossible. It's like, oh, well, damn. Then you wonder why people don't feel good about this. Anyway, she goes on to say, he could have had Jasmine Crockett, Ketanji Brown Jackson, or Texas State Representative Nicole Collier, who was locked in the Texas State Capitol for refusing to sign the paper, saying she would comply with the directives of the permission slip from the Republicans on his show to discuss a number of topics. There are any number of black women he could have on the show, and there's been nothing but the monotone drones of white men just like him, born and very unprogressive. Well, the other thing I would add too, my guess is that if a guy like that does reach out to black women, it won't be the black women that you named.
No.
So if he did, it would end up being, like I said, probably they come on and then he basically don't listen, or he pretend to be cool and then they leave and he go back to being him, or he brings on your Brianna, that I forget her last name, but that woman who Brianna Joy something, but the woman who was like a Bernie person then went so progressive and extremist that she basically ended up being like a Republican who says she's progressive. Like, I think these guys select the people on their platforms, is my point, the same way we do, you know? So the reason you're not going to hear certain opinions on our show is because I'm pretty sure we don't respect them and wouldn't allow them on our show. So unless somebody wants to surprise us with an opinion,
it would be a surprise, and it would basically make the you hear that record scratch. Hey, right. What's happening here?
So I imagine that he's not gonna just have people on there that have the ability and the wherewithal to stand in his face and be like, "This is where you fucked up." He don't want to deal with that.
That mean the conversation, you don't want to have that conversation,
and the people that listen to him probably don't want to see him have that conversation.
Agree, because it makes all of a sudden everybody feels uncomfortable.
All right. Anyway, I'm mad, so I'm gonna stop talking politics. As always,
100.
Right. I appreciate the deep dive, Lily. Thank you, Lily. We appreciate it. Yeah. So, and what's funny is that, like, Lily listened to Klein. Lily was a fan of Klein. Klein was one of the main drivers of Biden shouldn't have run that second time. You wrote into us to be like, he shouldn't have run that second time. Y'all was kind of, y'all must have been at least some way ideologically aligned at that point. And I'm not trying to dunk on you. I really just feel this way. I feel like Klein proved my point about what I was saying. Like, he will say he proved his point. They shouldn't have ran Biden. I think he's proven my point. Look at who he has become in the loss. Look at how you can't listen to him anymore. The people that were propagating that idea really did not know what the fuck they were talking about. Because I said standing behind Biden and then standing behind Kamala was a sign of we're ready to fight. It's not about them being perfect or the best candidate. It's I'm not giving ground to you.
I can't.
And now, in the wake of it, what's the first solution he's had for the Democratic Party? Let's give ground on all this stuff. So you knock Biden for not being progressive enough. You knock Harris for not being progressive enough. You knock Democrats because they're not progressive. They don't want it enough. Their message isn't strong enough. And then your solution is, let's soften the message so we can get Charlie Kirk in here. I knew that would happen. And that's what I was upset about with the suggestion of, like, Biden, we can't run him. He shouldn't have run. I guess I was more offended at the idea that these weak ass niggas was sitting up here trying to make it somebody else's fault that they some weak ass niggas.
Right.
Everybody else understood the assignment. I know how to vote. You knew how to vote. Karen knew how to vote. If it would have been Biden, I would have voted the same way.
Yep. Whoever the Democratic person was, that's who I was going to vote for.
I knew they wouldn't understand the assignment. And the lesson they took from it is, let's go get some Charlie Kirks. All right, y'all. That's it. No show tomorrow. Thanks for listening. We'll be back possibly throughout the week. Also could be a good time to take a week off because so much news is happening. I can't keep up. Who can deal with all this news?
Who can deal with all
I'm
this
so tired.
news?
News gonna just keep happening. But all right, y'all. We'll talk to you later. Until next time. I love you.
I love you too. Mwah.
Bye, everybody. Have a good day.